I took over FIU 3 seasons ago, and after dominating in my short time with the program, the ACC came knocking with an invite. Instead of jumping ship to a bigger school, which I could have easily done as the winningest head coach in school history. Yes, that might sound crazy, but I only needed 29 wins to accomplish that. Anyway, I decided to stay in Miami with this FIU squad, with our two conference rivals, Miami and Florida State, with a third-year quarterback now in Alexander Bean, and set off with the challenge of surviving in the ACC because Conference USA was just too easy for us. We're no longer just building up a small program, we're working on taking an average school to the next level, coming off back-to-back playoff appearances with first-round losses, but that plus the ACC invite has put us on the map for good, and so going into Season 4, the expectations are sky high. The thing I'd like to start with first is our schedule. We have Ohio State on the road, and then as the year goes on, we get into conference play where the conference games in the ACC get tougher and tougher. So I just have a feeling that getting back to the playoffs for the third year in a row is a stretch. The preseason polls do not seem to think so, though. They have us coming in ranked at number 7 in the country, which I think is because of parts of our roster. Like, we have the best receiving core that we've ever had at FIU, but I think this running back room might be the worst one I've had to play with. I will mainly be leaning on true freshman running back Emmett Bickley, but the issue I have with him is he only is normal development, so we're going to look to give that dev trait upgraded. And if that doesn't work out, then we're going to be going after 4-star gym running back Eric Peters with his 89 speed, alongside some of these other gyms that I've been able to discover. All of these guys would help take this team to the next level, but we won't really know who we stand a chance on until we advance a couple of weeks. So I think we should just get straight into our first game of the season against in-state opponent USF. This is a little bit of a warm-up for us because after this week, we go on the road to play at Ohio State again, which is where we lost in the playoffs last year, so we just have to make sure that we win this one. It would be pretty embarrassing if we couldn't beat USF, especially since our schedule only gets harder from here, but I'm glad they let me know that receiver ahead of time. He's going to be their best offensive player. I'm a little skeptical to leave him in man-to-man coverage 24/7, which is why we're not going to do it on every play. And here on 3rd and 6, we got the slant underneath. We're going to get the interception with Cuba Taylor, though. What a start for our defense this year. The senior linebacker rode the pine last year. He barely saw the field, but he didn't transfer. He stuck around. And now CJ Cuba Taylor could be having a huge impact for us all year. This is what's important, though. How are we going to do whenever we run the football? Sterling Joseph gets us 6. And Emmett Bickley is in for this next snap. He's going to have someone on him immediately, but he just avoided it. Can't say I'm already thrilled about a 3rd and 4, but I trust our starting tight end this year. He has 86 speed, but we just couldn't hit him. And we missed a field goal to the left. Freshman kicker Wade Shaw cannot be serious. Though, we're going to get another interception. Dakota Fields, the superstar from last year, gets us in the end zone. Are we even going to need our offense this year? You know how hard it is to force interceptions on Heisman. The quarterbacks never make mistakes. So the fact that we have 2 of them is big, but they're getting a huge kickoff return against us. I still just cannot believe that we already have 2 interceptions 2 minutes into this game, but they're getting a big run. They are not gonna go anywhere from what we're seeing so far. They had the kickoff return for a decent bit. Then they had that big run play. It's gonna be 3rd down though. And we are gonna send in a little bit of a blitz where I felt like we should have gotten pressure, but they held up. They were prepared for it. I'm stuck on the defensive line. It doesn't matter. Charlie Collins, the senior, gets off the edge and makes the play anyway. Nothing is open here. It's becoming very obvious to me. We need a lot of guys in coverage, and then they'll make a mistake. I mean, we had everyone locked up. We got a couple sacks. We held them to 3. And I have put Tristan Glass back there at kick returner this year, our 95 speed receiver. I thought he might be a decent fit there. Emmett Bickley, first carry of the drive, nowhere to go. I'm curious how they respond to this play right here, though. I want to get Nick Machado involved. He was redshirted last year, but he's set to make a difference this season, and we get the first. Like I said, I think our receiving core might be the best that we have had at FIU, but I'm not sure how Alexander Bean's going to carry himself throughout the season, and that could have been picked. It is already 3rd and 16. Our offensive line holds up, though, and sure enough, Nick Machado, wide open, going to the red zone. Last year, once we got to conference play, we actually let Alexander Bean throw the ball quite a bit. It worked out well for us. But this year, when we're playing better teams in ACC play, we're probably going to need to lean a lot more on running. Sterling Joseph has been the more explosive running back early on in this game, though. I'm not going to say that he can't earn the starting job back. He just wasn't as impressive during practice as Emmett Bickley was for us. Good little block there from him. And that new ACC logo on our jersey is looking good. It has felt like every season in this series, I always struggle during our first few games. But we have gotten off to the start that I was hoping for against USF. And I'm not sure if they're even going to be able to run the ball versus us. They've been throwing a lot. On 3rd and 3, we went with some press coverage. I don't see anybody that's open. He is running for his life. And we are really starting to reap the benefits of this team that we've built. I just can't believe how often they're leaving our tight end open. I mean, Nick Machado hasn't proven himself yet. There's no tape on him at the moment, so I guess that'll change as we get throughout the season. But Emmett Bickley almost broke off a huge touchdown run there, and Eugene Hilton Jr. is going to get around both of those defenders. What a way for us to open up this season. It has never gone this well. If we can just get on the board another time before the end of the first half, this one's a wrap. And here we go. 3rd and 5. They're throwing the rock. And I don't know who they're going to hit, but I had to stick with 82 there. We can't make the tackle in the open field either. He is still on his feet. I feel like it's just so obvious that they can't even compete with us. I mean, they look so much slower. There's no one that should be open in this situation, but they are trying their best to hang in this game with a lot of short throws. What we're looking for is holding them to a field goal, and then we're going to be able to pretty much close it out. But they're taking time off of the clock, and they're going for that touchdown instead. I am ready for the bubble screen on this play since they've already thrown it a couple of times. I'm not seeing it, though. It's going to be 3rd down. Everyone is down, ready to stop whatever they have drawn up. And they tried to throw that over our head. I'm pretty sure they got the ball first as well. They're in trouble. I can't say our offense is exactly where I want it, but I can't expect us to score a lot of points this year. So they needed to come out hot against us. Can Alexander Bean make this type of throw? We're really testing his arm strength. That is just an arm punt at this point. We're going into the end of the first half up 21-6. I guess they could probably still get a field goal as well, but they're out of timeouts, and I think sending that ball up there was worth it for us. They're testing Dijon Lee Jr., though. He could have caught that. If they run it here, they're probably not getting off another snap. They go to their running back, and that's going to do it. No field goal for them. The Hail Mary most likely won't work. They throw it on the run for a good bit, but we're still chilling. It is 21-6 here at Pitbull Stadium, and we have about the same amount of yards allowed. To open up this 3rd quarter, I'm going to be looking to have a huge offensive drive. Lots of runs for us, trying to keep things as simple as possible. The RPO to Nick Machado worked wonders, though, and they bit down so hard that the freshie is going to run all the way into the end zone for the first touchdown of his career. For 2 seasons before this now, we had a tight end that had 73 speed. And listen, I respect Jackson Warren. I appreciate all that he did for this Panthers team. But I thought that he was holding us back a little bit, and it's becoming more and more clear that he was. USF still feels like they have a chance in this matchup, though, as they're going to drive it down the field. But I think they've already made way too many mistakes. They can't be giving us another pick 6 with Dakota Fields. This kid is going to win the Jim Thorpe Award 2 years in a row. They just really thought that that was going to work out for them. I can't believe it. Even though we moved him over to our starting strong safety, he's been playing the same type of role that he played all throughout last year. It's going to be 4th down for USF. And here we go. Are we going to be able to get them off of the field? I thought we might, but it's over. One thing I feel like I haven't done the best job with is making sure that our backups are always getting some playing time. Hang on. No way Dakota Fields gets 3 pick 6s. Come on. Don't catch him. Don't catch him. Use your speed, dude. No. Okay, what I was going to say is I got to get the backups in the rotation more often if we have a blowout this year, and we will. I haven't really showcased the future of FIU football after some of these starters leave our team. I really think that's going to be important for us to do, though. So that's who's going in after we get this touchdown with Justin Devon. For whatever reason, it says mass sub starters, and that's not what I want to do. I want to put in the backups, but there's not an option for that unless this is just written wrong, because the backups aren't out there right now. I don't understand why that feature just doesn't work. Why can I not put the backups in the game? Instead, on 3rd down, we still have the starters out there on the field. Now it's going to let me mass sub the backups. Let's see if it actually puts in backups, though. Some of these guys that are out there are still the starter, so I'm not sure if it's actually working, but we did get some of the backups in. It's got to do with how the depth chart is set up most likely, so it is my fault. And I'm just hoping that we can get at least another highlight play out of this team, which we do right there. We even have backup quarterback Raphael Booth out there with new running back 4-star Rainbow. And let's just say nothing the backups did was pretty. I ended up throwing an interception with him. USF was able to score their first touchdown of the day, but let's respect Dakota Fields. He just set the FIU school record for the most interceptions in a single game. And if you're curious how many players potentially want to transfer out from this team, Nick Machado is up there, which means we have to throw the ball to him a lot. There are 12 total, but this can change throughout the season. We could have more players that want to leave. We could also have less players. It's really difficult to read into it this early on, but we're about to face off against Ohio State, who's coming off of a loss to Alabama by 5 points. Now, I do want to be transparent to make sure that we continue to have some more difficult games throughout this series. Not only is it on Heisman, but I did adjust the gameplay sliders a little bit for the first time, just to make the computer play a little bit better. I felt like the accuracy was already pretty much there. I have more good news as well. If you scroll through these prospects, you're going to see that we have a lead, including a really big one on Eric Peters for most of them. And then for those guys that we need to hard sell on, our school grades have gotten so much better, so it actually works. I think we're going to sign our best class yet, and we're about to play in what I think is our first ever game of the week at the Buckeyes Stadium. This is a team that knocked us out in the first round of the playoffs last year. We're back in the same spot, and there is some rain coming down, just like our game last season as well, which did make a difference. They were slipping off of tackles. We ended up having some turnovers that we shouldn't have. But we're starting out with the ball today, and Alexander Bean has revenge on his mind. I think a handoff is the only appropriate way to start this one off with Emmett Bickley. But that did not get us very much, and once again, not going far. I'm looking at these RPOs though, and we know that our tight end always becomes pretty open here. I was throwing it. We waited a second too long. The streak would have been there with a little bit more time. So we're getting held to a 3-and-out on our first drive. That felt like some pretty poor play calling. Keeping it on the first play, their new quarterback is going to get them 5. And his name is Malik Murphy, just not the one that you're thinking about. This kid's a sophomore. If they're going to be running RPOs like this though, we're going to be prepared to stop them. Just no one was guarding that kid. We're really going to need a lot to go our way in this game if we're going to be able to beat them. But he comes to that ball first. Last week, we had the most of our success when we were forcing interceptions. I thought he was about to place that. And when are they going to test Dakota Fields? That's what I'm hoping for. We literally cannot let this one get out of hand. I'm going to start this drive with some more RPOs than we typically run. Huge hole for Emmett to hit. And honestly, it's just going to be a bunch of these because I think it's hard for him to stop. Now, if we start mixing in slants, it's where I get a little bit nervous because that's typically where I tend to make some mistakes. I didn't hear. And Tristan Glass looks like he's going to get open on this one, but they were on him. If you compare this to how we opened up the game, this has been very smooth for our offense. I threw that one way too late. It didn't register me pressing the button the first time, but we should be fine. Easy little handoff, go to the 10. I really am a big fan of this RPO though. I'm never going to look to throw the bubble. It's just trying to get it on the outside. It's one I feel like I should have used more of. We're going to hand this one off, and we're going to be at the 1. All right, I think from here, quarterback sneak gets the first down. Even if we don't get into the end zone, we'll just run quarterback sneak like 3 times in a row. It's not needed though. Tied back up at 7. What we're going to have to do is just step up defensively. Like, I am a huge fan of what we just figured out on that last offensive drive, but obviously, we're going to have work to do over here. On 2nd and 12, looks like they're going to have a screen pass. And do you see how we just locked up there? I'm stuck on the defensive line on 3rd down, though. Dakota Fields gets done dirty, and it's going to be 14-7. We literally grinded out that last touchdown. I didn't even mean to keep that one there. And let's see what we got on 2nd and 9. Couple of routes underneath. It's what I was hoping for. That should be a first down. All right, I'm hoping that this is the time that this play actually works the way I was hoping that it would. They locked it up pretty well there. Is our tight end open, though? We're going to try it. What a catch from Nick Machado. On this one, I think it's just going to go to Tristan Glass, if anything, but I hit it late. See, that's the real issue with running all these RPOs. I don't always make the decision quick enough, but here, we find Nick Machado, and he's got more. Then there's this play where I honestly just think there's way too many reads for me to make in this situation. Yeah, that was difficult. We got to keep it a lot simpler than that. We're going to try and run to the outside here with Sterling Joseph. And I still feel like we're moving it pretty well against the Buckeyes. He tried to stop Alexander Bean, but it's not going to happen. All it takes is one bad read, though, for me. That's what I'm most worried about. I'm really hoping we can get the defense to bite with this play action. Tristan Glass gets open, but he's not there, so we go down low. I'm not sure if they're going to play this bubble or not. They have 3 guys over there. Looks like he's going to be a little bit hesitating. It's 4th and 2. Obviously, I believe we've just got to go for this. We have him open. Is it a good pass? It is. Tristan Glass makes the catch. We're back in it, 14-14, and we're going to be going to our defense again. We have Dejan Lee Jr. manned up over on that right side. They're going to keep this handoff and not get too far. But I don't even know if I want to do any more man-to-man coverage like that right there. Thankfully, we got off that tackle. If that block holds, he might be gone. And you might be wondering, why don't I just set our run defense to stop the keeper? I'm afraid that if I do that, then their quarterback's just going to end up always handing it off, and they're going to get huge gains that way. Like, you see how few mistakes they end up making. We're probably not going to see many. I'd rather just let the overall of our players do the talking. We're going to give them a chance to run some man-to-man coverage. Everything locked up underneath. And here we go. It's 3rd and 6. I'm going to come out of nowhere to guard the slants right there. Except I didn't. I had a lot of faith as well. I thought I was about to get a lurk. They get this pass out so fast. And we'll see. Can we get them underneath? I'm stuck. If I wasn't stuck, then we would have been fine. I want to get another pick six, a lurk off of the RPO. I believe we can do it. We just need them to try us. This is going to be just a straight run, though, and he's not getting it. I'm prepared. We got press out there. We're going to go underneath. We do not want to give up anything to them, and it's not there. But he slings it last second, and Ty Cordova comes down to the football. We're going to be at the 10. What a defensive play there. Now, I believe to end this first half, we could still get in field goal range. It's going to take some good throws from Alexander Bean, and instead he misses. He just completely misses his target at the absolute worst time in the world. They clearly cannot kick a field goal from here, though, so we're completely fine. That's going to run off clock. I don't think they're going to get this spike off. Normally, the computer doesn't. They're out of timeouts. But they do, and now that we're giving up 3, it makes me wonder if I should have just run out the rest of the first half. I mean, it is my fault for forcing it there. He jukes, but he's still going. I feel like Nazir Harris hasn't been too scary against us so far. He's going to lose 5. And on 3rd and 7, they go with the toss play. There's no way that they're picking that up. It's 4th and inches. From here, we're going to take a lead on this drive. That's what I'm hoping on. Lots of runs, lots of options, lots of RPOs. That's how we're going to move it down the field. Alexander Bean has nowhere to go, and we almost lost it. I just don't understand why we always have to deal with fumbles and stuff like that. Sterling Joseph, though, with a huge run. And it looks like they're going to stick with the RPO on 1st down, but we're still getting out of there. Now we can try a real shot down the field. I want to get Tristan Glass on a streak route. I don't think it's going to happen. But this is a play that we ran earlier. We saw it could fake him out, and the other side of the field was so open. I ran away from it. That was not the move there. We're going to get this pass out quick. Tristan Glass gets us the first, and our hopes are staying alive. Good little cut up from Rainbolt here, the freshman. I wanted to stay away from Jalen Rainbolt because, honestly, his 84 speed just worried me. But we're currently mixing in 3 running backs. If he's out there, so be it, and it's going to be 3rd and 6. I really think this is 4-down territory for us. I just don't see why we'd only settle for a field goal. Way to bring that one in. I have my eyes on revenge. I do not want to just end up tying things up. And I saw that it was a 50-50 ball chance. There was a flag on the play. We're at the 1-yard line. And that was the perfect opportunity to let Tristan Glass make a play. The IQ Alexander Bean to know that he can just throw that up there out of this world. We're going to let him take it in for a touchdown. Give us that lead. And I was trying to man up Dejan Lee Jr. over here, but it wasn't letting me. Maybe it's because this kid's in motion. If it's an RPO, we're prepared to stop it. He has all the time in the world to scramble, though, so we're hitting. From this point forward, it is all about the defense, and there was none there. I really can't decide who on the field I want to deal with usering because I've made mistakes. I've left a lot of stuff open, and they typically seem to attack what area I'm trying to guard. Here we go, though. Massive 3rd and 2. I don't think they're going to run the ball. They go with the passing play, and we get the sack. How they start this 4th quarter is going to be interesting. You would think they might actually go for it. They've played better on the passing side, not on the running side. And we have full control against the Buckeyes. They're punting it back to us, giving us a chance to go up by 2 possessions against them. We pulled an upset off like this in the swamp last year. We're hoping to do something like that again. Sterling Joseph can't get out. I thought he would be able to there. On 3rd down, though, we're just going to wait. We're going to hit Nick, and Nick's going to get enough. See, if we just continue to run this football, they're going to stop us. They just come out solid in the 4th quarter. But if we mix in some RPOs, I didn't get the throw out. We could have definitely had a bigger gain there. On 3rd and 10, I didn't like how they were setting up, but we've navigated the pocket, and we're short. It's not going to be the end of the world. They're still going to start this drive in a very bad position, especially since they let it bounce like that. But this is still not really ideal for us. I don't see anything open, except you know that they're going to find it. We had 2 zones that were supposed to be covering that part of the field, though, which is what just confuses me. You're not going to juke out Dakota Fields. He's been having a really solid day. Bringing him down definitely worries me. We're probably better off just playing underneath ourselves, and they catch it. With 3 minutes left, low handoff here. Not anywhere for him to go. We have completely shut their running game down, but they got us. That could have honestly been really bad. They wouldn't attempt to run here. I didn't think so. Drag's not there, but they're going to scramble, or they're just going to have a touchdown. Where is our deep 3rd? The match coverage might have sold us, but it's not the end of the world. I don't know what button that is. I don't know what button he was. This is not how this story ends right here. It's 2nd and 21. I'm not going to throw it up to Tristan Glass yet. We don't need to go for a massive play until we get on like a 3rd and 18. And I just tried to do a spin move with the stick, but it didn't register. The last time we ran this play, we threw an interception to end the half. This time, it's going to be underthrown straight into his hands. 2 picks on that play. 2 picks. This game is not over, though. We are going to run commit up the middle and stop them. Unless they decide that they're going to throw the rock, we're going to hold them to 3 because we can be aggressive here. All right, on 3rd and 11, they are passing. I was kind of prepared for a run, and they have the first. That's the game right there. We have to let them get in the end zone now if we still want a fighting chance, and it's going to come with an onside kick and 2 touchdowns. I should have just looked over to 6'4" Tristan Glass on the last drive and thrown it up to him instead of our backup tight end. That wasn't really the move in that situation, though. And do we even have the speed to put that right there? They're backed off so far that I'm not ever going to get the look that I want. That was not meant to go to Sterling Joseph. And this game's over already. I mean, it's 4th and 2. We're going to try and move the chains, but it's another interception. I have been trying to place this ball in specific spots, and Alexander Bean is now acting injured after he's thrown 3 picks. I can't do it. I just don't see him being that quarterback that takes us to the next level since his accuracy is capped out. You saw the throws Malik Murphy was making. We could never do that. And so that is why, even though he was the first 4-star commit we ever landed, he gave us a chance as a top 50 player in the country as well. I will always be looking over to the redshirt 5-star quarterback we recruited last year, Darren Moody. At any moment this season, if we start losing a lot of games because of inaccurate balls, we can bring this kid in, and his accuracy isn't any better than what we currently have, but he has the potential to be a much better player. At least that loss isn't really going to affect us that much because we're dropping down to number 11 in the polls. It was against a top team on the road, and we've only ever beat one real top team in this series. It was Florida at the Swamp last season. We always end up finding some heartbreaking way to lose to the Hurricanes. That's our final game of the season this year as a conference game in the ACC. Clemson's not going to be easy either, but we're about to play our biggest rival, FAU. They're about an hour away from us. Until 2 seasons ago, they basically always beat us. And I'm just glad that we're not experiencing a rain game. It's actually sunny here in Florida. If you look at our schedule, this is one of the easiest games before we start conference play. And I have a challenge. They only scored 3 points against us last season. I want to hold them to 0. I know it's a big ask, especially since all of our zones just flipped. But we'll see what we can do on 3rd and 4. I don't think they have anything. See, facing off against a team like them versus Ohio State last week should feel way different. I can make mistakes like that, and it's not going to cost us. They're most likely not going to intercept that ball, though I threw that 5 seconds late. I don't know what's going on right now. I mean, this level of play is just unacceptable. Nick Machado saves us. And I've been trying to let Emmett Bickley get stuff going on the ground, but it's not there. One thing I do remember about FAU last season is they did have some pretty solid defense. They're just not sticking with Nick. It is so nice to have an actual receiving tight end in the game. He is going to get picked up, double teamed on this one, but we're going to go for the juke. And I should have just kept running. We'll keep it this time and lose yards again. I don't know how many times we're going to get in a 3rd and long situation, but we're going to pick it up again. And I have a feeling that if they sell out for the run here, we might just have a touchdown. They could have had that. I cannot believe I just threw that ball, but it looks like he's going to be so open here that we'll still get him his tutty. And that might be all that we need to win this game. Like I said, they have controlled this rivalry for years. I think it'd be sweet if we held them to 0 points. But evidently, we're just not having much success stopping them or making tackles. One of the things that should work for us, though, is sending in a blitz just because our guys are a much higher overall. We're going to try and pull it off, but they get the completion out. They shed a tackle, and we're going to miss them. So much for holding them to 0 points. You know what the worst part about that was as well? That was JoJo Stone, one of our best receivers over the past 2 seasons, that just made that play for them. So he transferred to our rivals. I don't know what he was thinking, but even though he gets a 47-yard touchdown versus us, he's not getting this win. I believe he's really missing out being a part of this roster. I wanted him to stick around, but he just wasn't going to have the role he wanted. Sure enough, it is 3rd and 16. We're going to see what type of coverage they give us, and this could be a touchdown. Alexander! You could say we held down too long, but that has to be a harder throw, or else they will intercept it. Good little bounce here with the punt. I just can't believe that this is honestly competitive at the moment. And the fact that they have JoJo Stone. We have been betrayed, and I think I can assume that most players that transfer out of this team in the future will go to FAU. It's local. A lot of the time they're upset that they're not getting the playing time that they wanted, but we get the interception. We'll take it. 0 complaints out of me. We're going to have our crosser as well. It's a good pass. And this is where we really take control of this game. We're just going to let Emmett Bickley get the tutty. We've then been able to get them to a 3rd and 9 on their next drive. A little bit of play action isn't going to fool anybody. It's all guarded. I'm ready to run up the score against them. I don't know why Kuhn ended up running away from the football, by the way. It wasn't me doing it. He decided to move away, and then I couldn't get back. But instead of that drive starting on like the 40, the freshman returner just caused us to start this drive in a much worse spot. At the end of last season, in the offseason, I told you all, he is my future plan of who I want to be our star running back in a few years. He's already gotten up to 93 speed, but I just don't know how else he's going to develop. We're going to have to wait on that. And that could have been picked. We'll go back to running the football, seeing if we can get anything. FAU has historically stopped the run against us pretty well, but on third down, we're going to still pick it up. We're also going to mix in a little halfback screen, see if this action can get us anywhere. Sterling Joseph goes for 9. And whenever there's this many routes that I could throw whenever running an RPO, I don't know. Sometimes it works. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going to throw a pick. We've been using them pretty well so far, though. And we're going to have the freest touchdown of all time. I wasn't kidding about wanting to close this one out quick either. It's now 3rd and 14, where JoJo Stone, you're not reaching the marker. My hope is by the end of the first half, it is 28-7 or it's 35-7. We scored 20 points on them last season, so we've already cleared what we scored. But I am going for an embarrassing blowout. That's what's going to make me happy. And I'm throwing this. I didn't even look to see if we were open down low with Tristan Glass. He's sprinting down the sideline. He's got that height. He's got that size. And now Eugene Hilton drops it. I don't know why we can't just have nice things. That's an easy way to get it in there. And you know how we're coming in this final minute. We're going to get the pick off of the back of Strickland. So on our first defensive play of that drive, it's already getting back into our hands. You know what? It's time to disrespect them. I see the size mismatch. Give that to Tristan Glass. He got in. I definitely feel like they're going to review this. He didn't touch the pylon, but it sets up like a half-yard run that we need, and we're going to not get it. I don't know what's up with Emmett Bickley, but he got stopped twice in this spot, so we're going to give it to Sterling Joseph. Apparently, our freshman kicker made another mistake as well, missing the extra point. We should have had that interception, but because we didn't get it, now they have it in field goal range, so we send a blitz. That felt like a great way to end this first half. They're going to throw it. They're going to split our zones. And they're going to get into the end zone. I guess it really is possible that we just got worse defensively, but much better offensively, because this is how we're going to start out the third quarter. And as this game went on, I'm really disappointed to say they continued to score too. Since it was a blowout, I can't say anything here was that exciting. I didn't think it was really worth keeping in this video since they're already long. But Alexander Bean has thrown for 450 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks. So it might be worth it for him to get one more passing touchdown and really rub it in against our rivals, because he has just been a stud. I think the message should be well received to JoJo Stone that he could have had a great year. He could have been on a way better roster if he didn't transfer out. And just talk about an incredible performance from Alexander Bean. Scoring 62 against a team that's way worse than us, though, doesn't get me that excited. What's going to get me excited is how we end up doing during conference play. If we can pick up wins in the ACC and our first opponent is SMU. I have taken note, though, that there are certain players on our board like Jake Spears where we just don't have the pipeline tier that Ohio State does. They took us down, so we're going to have to take them off of our board. With some more hours back in our pocket, we have decided our first main visit week is going to be against Georgia Tech. That's going to come after this game. But before we can play that, we're going to have to be tested on the road at SMU. Every one of these teams in ACC play should be a lot harder for us to take down than it's been previously just playing against our Conference USA opponents. But it gives us more leeway to still get into the playoffs. Like, I think we could lose 3 games with some big wins and get in. Coming off of his best week ever, we are looking to throw it again, but only if we also have the option to throw the ball as well. I really liked how a lot of these plays went against Ohio State. They're prepared though, and I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to just take a deep shot down the field early on. I don't know how we were able to just avoid that sack, by the way. From a glance, Alexander Bean looked like he had some sort of speed boost there or something. Here on 3rd and 14 though, we're going to throw it at that guy, and he got a little tip on it. To pick up the first down, we had to try and fit it in that window. I'm not too concerned, though. Our defense typically ends up getting the stops that we need. And our defensive line is going to always go off. Even though Jordan Thomas went on to the NFL at the end of last year, this might be the best front four that we have ever had in school history. I truly believe that FIU was ready for this change to go to the ACC, but they're already at the 40. It's going to be a lot harder for us to pick up wins this year. I mean, every team's going to give us a challenge. But we know what our defensive key is. Get them onto 3rd down where they tend to make mistakes, and there's a flag. It's holding. This is actually perfect. Now they're in some trouble. They're going to need a big gain on 2nd and 14. They don't get it. So we have them exactly where we want them. We want them to just take a little check down here and then maybe get a field goal. It's going to have to be a 57-yarder though, and this is the best that they can do out of this drive. Why do they have a good kicker? I feel like we've already run into so many teams, granted they were in Conference USA, where they couldn't even kick from like the 40. Anything that was over 50 yards, maybe even 45 yards, they were sitting there questioning. Quick little check down right here to Sterling Joseph, get us 15. And I am not afraid of passing the ball still. I like the mismatch we're going to have with Tristan Glass here. We got them faked out. Is he fast enough to run under this football? He is, and we're back in it. That is why we run the football as much as we end up running it, because then they're going to fall for stuff like that, though they're at midfield. Keontae Ellis just busts through there with ease, and now they're going to hit us with an RPO ourselves. That's why I like to stick on Dakota Fields, because if they try to hit anything short there, we can get some pick sixes. We're shading underneath. We're prepared to stop the run on 3rd and 1, but we're going to have to make this tackle. He didn't get enough. I can't believe what I'm seeing, though. They're going for it. Normally, the computer punts on 4th and inches. They're actually trying to be smart, but it's an awful play call. There we go. We got it back, and Tristan Glass, he's already had his opportunity to make one big play, but I gave him another. Even if they're not as good this year, I still like jet touch passes. I like outside zone runs normally, too. And I'm prepared for a read on man-to-man coverage. If it's zone, we're going to have to wait, and we're going to be throwing it behind our receiver. I tried to playmaker Eugene Hilton Jr. It didn't work, and then it went to the wrong guy, but it's all good. The stadium pulse as well hasn't really been affecting us too much so far in this game. And I'm telling you right now, I think Tristan Glass is just going to get wide open. It's off target. He tackled us. I think I ran that play one time with a lot of success in an online game against a friend, and now I'm just going to believe it'll always work. We haven't really seen that so far, though. And are you going to try and run? No way he got that out. We did everything right there, and it just didn't matter. They're going to have the crosser as well. This was an area that I took away. I feel like we're not playing that well against SMU, just being honest as we reach the end of this first quarter, but we're still in control of this game with a lead. Now, we have had some lucky stuff go our way. I wish I could have gotten that pick six. If I'm going to lurk their quarterback, though, I got to be a little bit closer with Dakota Fields, and they just have a huge lane. I think I'm going to be chasing the high all season that I felt against USF. Those interceptions just made me feel incredible. It beat anything that I've been able to do on the offensive side of the ball, though I would take a big run from Alexander Bean. I can't do that if Nick Machado has the worst attempt ever at a block, but we have him out there for receiving purposes, not blocking. It's just so weird how we have really shifted our identity into a pass-heavy team. I didn't see him. I don't know how I didn't see 23 there, but I thought we had a wide open touchdown. There's no excuse either because they're wearing black jerseys. Like, he was very clearly there. They're also bringing out a bottle. What a celebration. You know, just getting to see that itself was pretty neat. I didn't know that was something that SMU did, so that makes the interception at least worth our while. If they end up getting a lead out of this, though, I won't be as smiley. We'll see. Their running back's there, and I just saw it a second late. They're having some solid offensive drives against us recently. That's a crazy throw. But anyway, what they don't do a great job of is finishing them off. What we've decided to do on 3rd and inches is we're going to pinch our line, we're going to send a blitz, and he just gets in with a clear dive. Keontae Ellis is starting to perform for them, and all of a sudden, being down by 3, I'm not feeling great. We have not played our best, though. I don't think we've played our best all season, which says a lot. I can't wait, though. There has been a trend in every season I've played with FIU where we eventually just hit a stride. We'll just start blowing teams out for a few weeks. I barely will make any mistakes. And that's going to come. It'll come at some point. Maybe not here. It could be the start of it, though. No more interceptions. I don't want to throw another 15 this season like we did last year with Bean. We basically just average 1 a game, but this is awful coverage on Nick Machado. That's still one of my main receivers I stare down. I felt like we could have split the cover 2 and potentially gone to him there, but we were patient. And we find Eugene Hilton Jr. Again, this is the son of T.Y. Hilton, and he actually just got inducted to the FIU Hall of Fame as I'm filming this. That makes it even crazier that during all of that going on is when he decided to transfer to FIU in this game. If I threw the ball a little bit more, both T.Y. Hilton and his son would be in the FIU Hall of Fame. But he's definitely not made that type of impact for us yet. We'll see how he ends up doing throughout the rest of his career. They catch that? They break that tackle too? They're just throwing stuff up. We can't get a hand on that. But it's okay. On 2nd and 11, we deflect it? Come on. That's back-to-back plays where Dakota Fields could have completely changed this game. They're not going to test him on 3rd and 11. We get the sack. And I could have called a timeout, but I learned from the game against Ohio State, sometimes it's best to just let the time run off before the end of the half so I don't throw another interception. It just wasn't worth giving them a chance to get in field goal range and take a lead before the end of the first half. Now, to start out the second half, we are going to be on defense I was so close to baiting them again. And at some point, maybe I just have to accept that my user's not that great. I don't know why we had to come from behind on him like that, though, because if we didn't, then the running back wouldn't have been able to pick up the first down. We just knocked him straight over the marker, and we've seen this play before. This time we guarded it 50 times better. On 3rd and 10, they've gone 5 wide. We've protected the sticks, and all they can do is take a check down. I'm not going to let them get that. We basically just let the computer make the tackles there, because if I click on, I'm going to miss one hit stick, I'm going to miss another hit stick, and then all of a sudden, they're going to be at the marker. I feel like through playing every snap throughout this series, I have gotten better at this game. You don't have to agree with me, but I think I have. Not a big fan of that drop from Nick Machado, though. It's going to be 3rd and 5. And I have a feeling that they're about to run some cover 3 zone here, but if it's a blitz, we'll get it out to him. If not, we're going to find Justin Devon, and it's match. So they stuck with him. I knew exactly what they were doing. I called it perfectly, but the cover 3 match, which I checked, it was that hurt us. It's just another drive where we're going to need a defensive stop, and we're probably going to get it. I know most of our wins so far have mainly been because of how well we've played offensively. Crazy cutback there. But this one might come on the other side of the ball. We should have been able to get that pick. Instead, they're at the 40. With how good SMU's kicker is, that puts them in field goal range on this drive. Play action's not going to fool us, though. I have everything guarded here, and they still beat Dejan Lee Jr. That's our best corner, just not being able to stick with these ACC receivers the same way he was doing it in Conference USA. But it does make sense. I mean, that play went on for way too long. I can't expect a miracle out of him. For 3rd and 4, we've got hard flats out there. We have a quarterback spy. They're not going to give it to Keontae Ellis. They decided to throw it. And this is an interesting decision. I don't understand why they're not just kicking their 3 and taking a lead, but they're being aggressive. We're ready. We're prepared. We should be sending in enough pressure. And I just can't stand match coverage. It works for them. It doesn't work for us. I should have just stuck with our typical cover 2 shell there. Slant's not open. I bumped him. We're not going to see a penalty flag, though. And they're off target. Okay, obviously, this game's not where we want it to be right now. There's been some mishaps that should have never occurred at all. But I still feel like we should be able to figure this one out. I mean, we got basically a one-on-one here. We're able to isolate with the RPOs, and this might seem like a crazy read, a crazy play to call, but if that's cover 2, we're going to have a touchdown. If it's cover 3, we might have a touchdown. If it's whatever match coverage they had out there, we should have a touchdown. Cover 4 Palms gave up our last touchdown on defense. It just gave one up for them as well, so we've been able to get back, and we're going to roll out find Nick Machado. All that we did there was we just adjusted based off of what the defense was showing us. It wasn't anything challenging. It wasn't hard to do. And this is that look that we're going to stick in. Until they figure out how to beat this, I'm not going with anything else. Yeah, they got some audibles going on this play. Hard flat is there, and he scrambles. That is one way to counter it, but we're going to knock this ball loose. And so we're getting it back up by 3 points. Our returns have not been good, though. I had high hopes for how those were going to go. Nowhere to run it with Bickley. And we almost just need to see how their defense reacts to this. We're going to have all the time, but not enough. I just spoke too soon. It's now 3rd and 12. Our slant route has been completely boxed up. I felt like he got bumped there, and I tried to throw it up, but it's underthrown once again for another pick. Did I even check if anything else was open there? Absolutely not. I knew who I was staring down. I think it's time that we study some of our game film, though, from this season. After this one, I'm going to watch it back. I'm going to see what I could be doing differently. Check what's worked, check what's not, and then we're going to come back with a better plan for the rest of the year, because I don't want to be in these close matchups. They're inside the 10-yard line now. I mean, they always have these bad runs. It's so weird because Keontae Ellis has had these great moments, and then he has terrible plays like that. So I don't really know how to gauge if we should be terrified of him or if he's not a worry. What matters the most, though, is how we hold them on 3rd and 9. They kick a field goal here. It's completely fine with me. They're going to scramble, and they should fumble. They should fumble. It bounced into his hands. We had like 4 dudes on top of each other, and not one of them picked it up. I hope you're ready for the best 6.5-minute RPO game-winning drive of your life, though. That's what we're going for. That didn't really work for us there, and they're stopping this run too. But we'll see what we can make happen on 3rd down. Corner route was there for half a second, but I got worried. I wanted to throw it immediately, but I don't think Alexander Bean could have fit it there. I wasn't feeling another inaccurate ball for an interception. And so SMU is in full control of this matchup. They probably really like being in this position. It's going to be 3rd and 3. And that one's honestly on me. I tried to generate some heat, but we can see the handoff coming. Maybe on this next drive, we'll be able to run the football a little bit better. It's just been so hit or miss in the limited runs we've done this season. But I do think I've dropped back on like 75% of these plays. The speed option used to be so good. I think they patched it the last couple seasons we've been playing because you used to be able to make like perfect pitches like while you were being tackled. Not anymore though. On third down, we're going to take our drag. We're going to get the first. You can see the clock winding down right now. You know what we're going for. If we're going to close out this game, we got to get that. And I might be trusting Alexander Bean's arm here. If it's not there though, we're going to roll out. We're going to playmaker and throw it above those zones. Did he just drop that into the hands of Justin Devon? I've had my problems with him, but that was incredible there. I'm gonna pitch this before defenders even close. I just don't know how viable this is. You really want to get those defenders on you before you let go of the ball, and that's how you can get like breakaway touchdowns out of it. But I think SMU's done here. They only have one timeout left, and we can burn through the clock. We're going to kick a field goal for the win from this spot on the field. The stadium pulse isn't too high. They don't have any timeouts to ice us, so we have run the clock down. They're not going to block it, and the freshman seals it. Not exactly how I was thinking our first ACC game was going to go, especially since I was taking SMU kind of lightly at first. But it's going to land us our first commit. Because we've been passing the ball more, receivers are interested in coming here. Now we just need to take down Georgia Tech this next week. Lots of guys on visits for that. Then week 6, we also have visits for guys against Cal, so there's multiple chances for us to get more of these 4 stars. And I do think it's important 4 games into the year to reflect on what our offense has been like. So we've had 95 pass attempts. On the rushing side of things, it looks like we've had about 70-80 carries, so it's not as badly split as I was thinking. But only one running back, Sterling Joseph, is averaging a good amount of yards per carry, 4.5, so he's going to be our new starter. I wanted to really invest into the freshman, but with his normal dev trait and not feeling as good as Sterling Joseph does, he's going to go to second string. We're still sitting inside the top 10 as well. Other teams in our conference, like Clemson and Miami, are going to be staying in this similar spot. I don't see anyone picking up losses besides Florida. They've lost the past 2 weeks. And next year, I will try and get them on our schedule again. If you look at ours currently, it's just ACC games besides what should be a freebie against UTEP, though they were the most challenging team in Conference USA last season. And before this game against Georgia Tech, like I said, gonna look back at some film and then come back with a better offensive plan for the rest of the year. I figured there'd be no better game to implement that plan than during a Vice game. So we're rocking the jersey. We still do not have a sold-out stadium, even in the ACC. I'm starting to wonder if we're ever going to be able to fill out this entire one. But I think as long as we limit turnovers, we're going to be fine. We're starting on defense, so what I want to go with offensively doesn't really matter. We have to get them off the field first, and they're going with a run that is going to give them at least 12 yards. If Kiki Okafor was actually that good, though, that play could have been much more dangerous. So as of just scanning their offense for a quick little bit, it's their passing game that scares me. We came prepared for it, though, forcing a 3rd and 17. Nothing's going to be open unless they try and throw it at Dakota Fields. And we could have had that interception, but it's all good. We're going to be getting this ball back, and we'll see if Kuhn can ever break off a nice kick return for us. We got those all of last season. That's been a little bit of a disappointment for us, but we're ready. It is the RPOs that have carried us, which shouldn't be a surprise. If we're going to pass the ball, I would much rather have some drags on the field that I'm prepared to hit, or we set up to do play action. Really get the defense biting, but that's only in certain situations. On 3rd and 1, huge hole for Sterling Joseph. I thought he was going to go all the way. See, as much fun as I've had with Alexander Bean this season throwing the football, what I figured out was whenever we're on those 3rd and 5 situations and stuff, we have a much better chance of picking it up. It's really common sense, but I just don't want to find ourselves in any long situations on 3rd down this year, because look how easy that was to convert. I'm even not as opposed to having some RPO slants out there on the field either. Ideally, we can get like 5 yards on this run, but we don't, which sets us up for one of those 3rd and long situations that I was looking to avoid, but comeback routes have been absolute money. See, I've reviewed all the film, not just our first games this season, but some of our games from these other years. And when you're 4 years in using the same playbook, you should have a pretty good game plan of what you want to be running in this game. I think too often coach suggestions gives me a lot of these inside zones, which can still be solid. But then we've discovered some better stuff, like halfback direct right here, which I think is going to get us into the end zone with Sterling Joseph. The starting running back, our new one, is back. That slow, controlled offense was the type of style that made us have success in year 1. Back when I hadn't really had a chance to change everything here and recruit players that I wanted. I figure if we limit offensive possessions, we're probably best. Because you see how our defense plays. We're able to get stops like that, and it's about to be 3rd down. Or maybe not. This is a situation where we just have to be aggressive. If they try and hand this football off, we're going to get in there. And Georgia Tech has no choice but to punt that ball back to us, though I don't like where this drive's going to be starting. never mind, we're good. Surprisingly, I think the most effective run play for us on the ground as well has been this quarterback draw. Most of the time, whenever we ran it, we would definitely get more yards than that. Plus, look at Sterling Joseph getting us this first. I am truly doing my best to not even look downfield. Also, whenever it comes to pitching this ball, it has to be a little bit sooner like I did right there. I have literally been running straight into these guys, but listen, every so often I said, I want to have a chance at taking a deep shot, because I know that we're going to get some looks where we have the talent to make it happen, and Eugene Hilton Jr. is gone. What a start to our Vice game this has already been. And this is how I want to control these games. I don't want these teams to have a chance. Like, let's say we started off against Ohio State like this. I feel like that would be enough. We've definitely blown like 7-point leads, but it'd be a lot harder for me to blow like a 21-point lead, a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. Now my only goal is to make this the final drive of the first half. I don't even care if we score. I'm pretty sure we get the football to start the second, and let's see, what can we do with the little stretch play here? Sterling Joseph cuts upfield, and Sterling Joseph's gonna get caught. I don't know why I ever went away from him just trying to work on the youth on this team. I mean, he was always the answer. If we end up losing a few yards with a run play like that, though, putting us in a much less favorable position, I think that's when we're always going to have to return to an RPO. That'll be our second down play call, because if it doesn't work, then we're not going to lose too many yards. But if it does, we're back in a good position, and they just left Tristan Glass wide open. It is 21-0 now. Georgia Tech, they've done nothing. And I wonder if they're just going to try and run it and then take this to the end of the first half. They might break off a big one here, though. Unfortunately, it is looking like field goal range could be a possibility. But there's only 14 seconds left, so they're going to have to be, like, perfect. And they tested the user. That was a good decision from them, 21-3. For this final play of the first, I found a counter that looks really good with the blocking. So we'll be carrying that over to our drive to start the second half. By now, the sun has set. Tristan Glass taking this return. He's not broken one. But we are ready to go back to running the football, and I didn't hit the right hole. A little bit of a disappointing start to this second half. What did I say, though? We're going to run RPOs in these second and long situations. And then on third down, we got plays designed for these situations. So if they're going to run man-to-man coverage, they're going to be fine, or we're going to be able to dust them. Back to figuring out some of this pistol stuff, though, because I want these running formations to work. These stretches would definitely pan out better as if we had a speedster that could outrun all these guys, but we don't. On 3rd and 10, they're going to try and get in pressure, and we had a quick hot read to just get that ball out. It's really still going super well for us. You can definitely tell that they're coming in hot. They're getting frustrated that we've been able to run the ball so much, but we're fine. We've set ourselves up really nicely here, and we're going to find our tight end. For 4th and 1, kicking a field goal here doesn't do much for us, so we're just going to go to our quarterback direct run. And I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say I'm just calling a flawless game, but it's really felt like it's been one so far for us. If we can just get some man-to-man coverage, we should have a touchdown here. And we do. This is beautiful. This is the best I've felt about FIU football this entire series. And we all know that CJ Kupa-Taylor should have had an interception there. We got our 94 speed safety lurking on 3rd down. We got Charlie Collins getting pressure off of the edge. And what else do you want them to do? They have simply just been outplayed in this game. We're going to mix in this one as well. I know you probably saw like 50 different routes pop up with that RPO. And how are they ever going to get us off of this field? I got sick and tired of coach suggestions, sick and tired of turning the football over. So I did my film study, and now we're playing so much better offensively. I can pretty much guarantee that you aren't going to see certain plays anymore, like a reverse. It popped up in the suggestion. We have enough data there. We know what's going to happen whenever we run that. Halfback direct on 3rd down, though, is going to allow Bickley to get to the 2. I really wanted Emmett to score the touchdown there. He might on this play just if we hand it off. He does. But this game's not completely over, and I was hoping to hold them to 3 points. We've been able to get them to a 4th and 1, but I couldn't even see him because of the zones on the field. And Georgia Tech has been trying to space out our defense, but we're solid. I'm telling you right now, we are prepared for the rest of this season. I'm feeling confident. And they've come out in Wildcat on 4th and goal. If they go with the jet touch pass, we're fine. All I can say is this felt like the most rewarding win of our season so far. We fought for every single thing that went right. And I think for the first time since I've been using FIU, we didn't have a single incompletion with our quarterback, Alexander Bean, with a perfect game on the rushing side of things. We didn't get as many rushing yards as you might think. It was the pass option part of the RPOs that seriously carried us. And my only hope with that game is we would impress people like Eric Peters, getting them to commit to our school And he's not going to be the only 4-star either. Kevin Robbins, a quarterback's going to give us another option in the future. It just keeps on going. And if you look past the 5 players that we've already been able to sign, I also think that we're going to be able to bring in at least 3 more 4-stars. We're really trying to beat out Florida State for 2 of these prospects with week 6 visits coming up. And apparently we're going to be able to take care of our needs at linebacker because all 3 of these 4-star linebackers had us at first on their board, but I didn't have them on our recruiting board. They weren't from Florida, so I wasn't really considering them, but now we get to face off against 1-4 California, which, yes, I know is a very weird ACC matchup. FIU was a far better fit for the ACC than adding California ever was. But you know what? We are both here now, and we're going to be going up against Paul Webster, a 6'4 quarterback. Now, if there's anything I've taken note of from Mr. Paul, is he's thrown just as many interceptions this season as touchdowns, and he completes less than 50% of his passes, but they hit us with our favorite RPO. They will probably try and run that again, so it's good to know they have it in their playbook. They're going to be at the red zone already. Their running back, Sky Priestley, looks like an absolute unit to try and stop. He's got to be like 6'2", 6'3", 230, maybe 240, and they keep on feeding him the ball where he's literally just going to go to the 2. There were some bad tackle attempts along the way, so you can't fully fault them. But wow, our defense literally just got used, and this RPO didn't work. We know that we can never run that one again. On 2nd down, we're getting 1. So we're going to pull out this 3rd and 11 concept already early on, which I wasn't going to be a huge fan of running this soon. And there's the pick. There's the pick where I try to put it up the seam. Alexander Bean does not have the throw power or the throwing accuracy to make that pass. We are getting shredded by Cal. And at some point, this team's going to have to wake up pretty quickly. I was more so just expecting this one to go like the Georgia Tech game did for us. Jet touch pass, those don't work anymore. But at the very least, it's probably about to be 10-0, and they're going to scramble in. I would say this crowd is silent, but whether they're winning or not, it would be since no one's here still. I feel like something's got to be bugged because if FIU was ranked inside the top 10 now in the ACC, there wouldn't be that many people missing from the stands. I'm pretty sure this stadium only seats like 20,000 as well. Wrong read on the read option. So we're going to have to pull out bubble Y pop a lot sooner than I wanted to. And we didn't have enough time. That play works a lot better if I just make that read quicker. On 3rd and 9, we are going to, fortunately, have Tristan Glass going down the field. You can't go wrong with a flood concept. It's one of the only concepts that I can actually read multiple reads on. And there was one jet touch pass that has gone well for us out of this playbook. But whenever they have 3 guys stacked up over there, it doesn't typically pan out, so we audibled to a halfback dive. There is a lot of thought going into every single play call. If we cut up, I know of the first. And I'm curious to see what they do with Tristan Glass in this situation. They left him open there. I also think this could be like the most money play in the world. You blocked him into us. We got to improve Nick Machado's blocking skills during the offseason. I think he's going to get a touchdown right here. We're back into this game. But on the defensive side of things, we have to figure something out soon. To be fair, for that second drive, I did give them the ball in a really good position. I wasn't expecting play action, but we still had somebody get in, and their quick little read is going to lead to a first. Never mind, we were able to lock down, force them on a 3rd and 1, where I tried to get into that gap. But honestly, we have to have a 7-man box there. It can't be like 5 guys. They're always going to win the numbers battle there. Even in this situation, we don't have the box that I would want, but it did work out for us. On 3rd down now, I'm an idiot. We can't even celebrate that. We had them stopped. It was a great defensive call. I didn't need to touch him. He just happened to be in our way. And they got us. They got us with it twice already. I literally talked badly about Paul Webster. He's having the best game of his career. But at least our defense seems to be stopping the run really well. On 3rd and 16, the only thing I'm really worried about is if they have a corner route or something out there. I am stuck on the defensive line. And I just don't get how they had that much time. We always generate pressure faster than that. None of this is the end of the world, though. The idea is this is the final drive of the first half. We get this back within 7. We then start the second half with a big touchdown, and then we're back in it. We're having to pull out another one of my favorite plays, though, already for a 3rd down. And we have the slant, which we catch. This is just not how I thought this game against Cal was going to go. We are going to use our quarterback draw here, though. Alexander Bean gets us to midfield. And another play I've picked up on that could be really good is this. That throw's got to be faster, though. This is actually the perfect situation for this RPO, because we knew that those linebackers were going to try and stop the run. And now we can manage the clock, finish this drive off strong. Little bit of a counter run here. We literally bounced straight into him, but this is the play that we were able to go for a big touchdown to Eugene Hilton Jr. on last week. It was underthrown. Was it as open as I was thinking? Probably not, but that ball was not placed where I wanted it. Once I saw we had this step to the outside, I wanted it in the back part of the end zone, but it was thrown inside so short. And this cannot be what this FIU series has come to. We've gotten so good to where we can be upset. They're at least taking it light on us. They ran out all of the clock in the first half, so this is going to be the final play. But California is 1-4, and they're up by 14 in our stadium. I'm not sure what the streak is specifically, but I'm pretty sure we have won like our last 15 games at home at least. I mean, we ran through conference play 2 years in a row and we didn't play any big schools in our home stadium. So that's got to be correct, but all of that can end right here if we don't somehow come back and beat the Golden Bears. There have been 2 downfield throws in this game, and sure enough, both of those throws picked off. It's the one thing I said, you know what, we're going to avoid those. Clearly, those have not always paid off and worked for us. So this is basically all on Alexander Bean. Taking the tight end screen, we're going to be on a 2nd and 2. I think it's safe to say that this drive is going really smoothly, except they blew that up, and we actually have Nick Machado on a streak here. I thought he might be able to get open. If he doesn't, though, we're going to have to go to our backup. It's never fun to watch a backup tight end have to try and make a catch like that, especially when he is also a freshman. Though, we used play action, and we're just going to scramble with Alexander Bean, try and get to that marker. We've already taken over half of this third quarter with us on this drive, so we have to get a touchdown. It almost feels like it is worth it to mix in another quarterback draw where we just aren't getting the same blocking we got in our other conference. On 3rd and 9, I have a comeback route over there in the end zone, and they played it. They played it, and they should have played it. It wasn't open. I didn't look anywhere else on the field. I forced it. That's the 3rd pick of this game, too. I feel a little bit better that nothing else was open, but still, this is just not good. Getting a field goal there would have been really, really great for morale. And now if the Golden Bears get into field goal range with this drive, we're going to have a hard time fighting back. Here on 2nd and 11, they have a halfback screen, but we have a flat, and I didn't click on so we could make the tackle. We did. This is a very big 3rd and 2. I think we got to press. We have to be aggressive, especially if they're going to hand it off. We can't give up anything underneath. And there it is. The band tunes are not making me feel good about this one. We're trying to get a blitz, but instead, he runs out of it. So that didn't really help us at all. We're also extremely vulnerable to any sort of RPO here. I swear, if that was a completed pass. Here we go. We've got them on a 3rd and 9. And they just split our zones. This kid's been money. I think I have to apologize to Paul Webster. I was not expecting this. Cal was actually so much better than I thought they were going to be. And this is another 3rd down that we can't give up. The hole was there for them to take too. Okay, assuming they don't just somehow miss this kick, we're going to have to come back down by 17. But I really thought for a split second there that they were about to miss that kick. This just doesn't do us any good. What we need is what we have over on that side of the field right now. Hilton getting pressed. A lot of time in the pocket, and just sending it up, going for the jump ball, and trusting him. For the receivers that we have on this team, that really isn't his style, but I was just hopeless. And it's time for Tristan Glass to be useful, sitting at 6'4" for us. There's a reason I wanted him on this roster. They deserve that pick. I've thrown 4 picks in this game. It's over. It's over. This is just like one of those games where nothing went right. You know how we could not stop Georgia Tech last week? Well, this week, we could not stop Cal, and they're still getting the first. I can't even remember. Have we gotten their offense off of the field one time in this game? I don't think we did. Granted, all those interceptions certainly did not help us, but it's about to be 31-7. Thankfully, I think they're taking it easy on us. They shouldn't be calling another play. If they did to run up the score, that would just be mean. And this is definitely going to cause those recruits that were visiting our school in week 6 to go to Florida State. It has also caused us to take the red shirt off of Darren Moody and put him out there. I just can't put Alexander Bean on the field for any longer. The potential we have with the 5-star recruit, with the true freshman, all depends on our championship contender grade staying high. So we have to win these games. And even if his deep accuracy is not the best, he is a much stronger arm for throw power, and he can be upgraded much farther. As good as he's played in some of these matchups, like against Georgia Tech, like against FAU, I just can't overlook the 3 picks against Ohio State, the 2 against SMU, the 4 against Cal. The turnovers have been something he struggled with every year of his career, and it seems like this season he's on pace for even more. I mean, that loss has really affected FIU football. We fell completely out of the top 25. And if we're going to somehow make it to the ACC Conference Championship, we basically have to be perfect the rest of the year. This is the level of competition we asked for, though, joining a better conference. Even Wake Forest beating them is not a given. And most of the time, I'd go into this thinking we're going to just dominate, but I can't. It's college football. Any team can have a hot day. That's what we just saw against the Golden Bears. They typically don't play that well. I like that teams can come out and do that, though, even when they're not the best, because that keeps you interested into what can actually happen throughout the year. They had some notes on us, some notes on Wake Forest, and what it is going to take for each one of these teams to win this game. I thought that was interesting. I think what I'm going to really bank on is a huge performance out of Sterling Joseph. At this point in his career, Darren Moody's just not a scrambler yet, though he might be taking a deep shot pretty early on, which could end up panning out really well for us. I know he only has 68 deep accuracy, but that was actually a great throw. Put it right where it needed to be. And the offense is flowing so far with our new starting quarterback. We're going to cut that one back. We're going to go for a first. And let's see, can halfback direct snap get us to the outside quick enough, even if we did cut it back? All right, on 2nd and goal, it looks like they're going to have the numbers to stop the tight end RPO, but we still placed it there, and Nick Machado hangs on to the football. This is how you start a game. We have a lot to prove this week. I am extremely upset about that loss against Cal. It just feels like a major step back for our team after some of the results we've seen over the last couple years. Whenever I feel dominated like that, it's always been against these schools that are way bigger. Cal shouldn't even be in the ACC either, but they have ruined all confidence that we've had because now Wake Forest is running against us. By joining the ACC, though, we were asking for this. And I think I've seen this play call before. I've seen this formation. I'm going to watch the tight end. He's on like a delayed route that they typically like to throw. It was actually the exact play I was expecting. And on 3rd and 16, I can't bump into any of these guys. But if we wrap up, they're only getting a field goal. I'm already feeling better about this game. It was just how we got started, and then it went downhill from there that really hurt us. I think I'd actually prefer if I just never watched the film back on that Cal game. No juke there. And let's see. What type of hole are we about to get? I haven't really seen the potential for any huge running plays so far. I think that is one position we've got to look for in the portal. Last season we tried. We knew we had those 4 stars out of high school coming in as well, but they just aren't that quick. I really like how this first quarter has gone so far, though. Tristan Glass has been great for drag routes. And Darren Moody's already heating up, which is really good for us, as he's going to find a wide open Nick Machado. That was the perfect ending to the first quarter. To start the second quarter, Sterling Joseph gets us 15. And I don't know what it is about this quarterback switch, but I just feel like it's made this whole team reignite itself. We're playing better football on 2nd and 9. I think we're just going to pitch this as quick as I can. I didn't want to risk fumbling. But here's where I have to tone back the bad reads. I have to be willing to take a sack here and just kick a field goal instead of throwing a pick. That was where we went wrong against Cal. We forced it a lot inside the red zone. They started off this drive, though, with like a 20-yard play, so they're back in business. Even Wake Forest is going to be a hard team for us to take down. Halfback draw gets them 10, and I'm trying my best to get them off of the field. But more often than not, especially when some of these rosters are better, we only get those stops when they make mistakes. Now, I don't know what Dijon Lee Jr. was doing there. I don't know how he just got beat off the line by this kid. But apparently he was pressed up, so all of a sudden, it's back to 10-10. I only feel comfortable whenever we are clearly in control of a game, which we're not here. But I do think we will at least get this 3rd and 1. I mean, we should have had 0 issues picking that up. Now we can really start to think, could this be the final drive of the first half? Maybe not. We just lost a lot of yards there, but we're going to get some of it back. And I really don't like that I can't put Hilton Jr. on a comeback route from that position on the field, but we're going to get Devon free, and he's going to run for quite a bit. Comeback routes are some of my favorite things to throw, even if we threw an interception on one last week. And I know this play we ran it like 5 plays ago. It didn't really work out the best for us. I wanted to give it another shot because I saw the potential. We are trying to just stick with the RPOs, but at some point we are going to sling the rock, and if this is going to be man-to-man coverage, what was that? I'm sorry, but that had to be a flag there. On 3rd down, we're going to go for our tight end. And Darren Moody, I have put you out on the field because I believe you can hit passes like that, but he missed. That's just how the first half's going to end. Can we get an RPO and a pick? I feel like the turnover is coming for us, though they handed off for a solid 10. And I'm going to try to bait them again. They had a bubble here. We actually get it with Dakota Fields. Stop stumbling over, buddy. This is your chance to make a play for the first time in so many weeks. It was about time that he got one of those. I've been trying to lurk that forever. And I almost went off of it for a second because I didn't think they were going to actually throw that in that spot. We're so back, though. We have our 10-point lead. We're trying to win with our new starting quarterback. It just would not be good for morale if we lost to Wake Forest using him at least. And let's see. What are they going with? Drag underneath? Boxed? That should have been 2. I really don't know what else I can do about that. I mean, we literally have about as good of a team as I would think we could get. I guess as we're signing more 4 and 5 stars, that should definitely change, especially since we can now compete in the ACC. But I have worked hard on getting these guys' stats to fit our scheme, and they still don't make plays on the ball. These are not run-stopping linebackers. These guys are built for pass coverage, and they still cannot do what we want them to. Halfback direct snap doesn't work. You know, I'm really not sure how to feel about having Darren Moody out there still. It's not like all of a sudden our offense has just been electric in this game, but he hits the throws we need. With him out there, it has definitely limited how much we can run the football just because he's not the quickest. So we should probably use some formation subs to get Alexander Bean out there for stuff like a quarterback blast, which is something we have not done since season 1 with Hellcat at QB. I literally just lowered my head and trucked with him. There's no reason we should have held on to that. Like, they 100% deserve that fumble. I have no idea what I was thinking there. Wake Forest is about to get right back into this game, except we're going to have them on a 3rd and 8. I have been kind of scared to send blitzes this season, so we're not going to do that even on the 3rd down. But we might on 4th and 1, especially if they're about to try and hand this football off, which they did. We're all over it. There's still like a quarter left in this game, though. There's a lot of time for them to still come back. And you know what? Let's try something. We've not tried something in a little bit. We're going to have a huge throw here that is on target. I can't say Alexander Bean would have done the same thing there. He probably would have underthrown it into an interception. So we're going to hope that can help us get back to the top 25. I think we're currently sitting right outside it, so theoretically, even if Wake Forest isn't the best win in the world, 5-2 should get us there. I'm kind of running out of RPOs that I can use in these situations, though, except Eugene Hilton Jr. caught that kid so off guard that he snapped his ankle for like 0.5 seconds on that play. We're watching it back. This is just beautiful, man. Watch that kid. Ankle snapped. You're not going to catch him after that. We're going to hold on to it, then turn that corner. He's gone. It really stinks that he's a senior, so next year we're going to have to figure something else out. No way they just tested us. Ty Cordova, you might be the worst safety of all time. Get him off the field. I don't want to see him anymore. This kid has now caught 2 touchdowns against us. He's destroyed basically anyone on our team. And we're just going to have to go back to what we were doing offensively. Big run here coming from Emmett Buckley. Bickley's still out there as well, so Sterling Joseph must be exhausted. And you know what? I think it's time that we go for a pass play. I don't love that they're sticking with us in coverage, but that sets us up for 3rd and 2. We actually have Iverson in the slot right now, one of our 3rd or 4th string receivers. And look at this. They do not have the box set up to stop our run here. We have to go for it on 4th down. No shot. No shot. I just don't know if we're meant to win sometimes. This should not be a caught ball. At least it wasn't. There would have definitely been questions if he somehow held onto it there. But number 82, Evan Austin, gets himself another catch. And what are we even doing? Can we at least play our zones a little bit? I know that you all are better at pass coverage than this. I'm supposed to be there to make that tackle. And we haven't gone with that man-to-man concept that has been on one of those sides of the field much, where we get like a Tampa 2, but one of these guys is manned up. I don't know if that's made much of a difference. I think they would have scored either way, but now we're down by 4. This is the real test for freshman quarterback Darren Moody. I don't know if he was ready to come out and be the starter this soon, but we put him out there anyway. And that could have very easily turned into an interception. On 2nd down, we're just going to find Tristan Glass underneath. I know if we go with the flood concept, it's going to be much harder for me to mess this up. They got man-to-man coverage out there, so we can complete this. But we got an 84 speed running back out there on the field. Rainbolt can't even catch! This team is actually making me so mad right now. On 2nd down, Nick Machado, reliable. I think we're going to be able to hand this one off and just move the chains real quick, especially if we hit that 2nd level. It looks like Emmett Bickley is going to be gone, but now we have to play some defense. What are we doing in the ACC with a freshman backfield out there thinking we're just going to win? Of course we're going to struggle a bit. It seems like for this first play, they're just going with some slants. There's still plenty of time left, so they're not too urgent yet, but I have got to figure out who I want to be using in these situations. I honestly don't think one of the hook curls is the best thing that I could be doing. They've tested the user. No eyes, no picks. They said it. I really thought we'd just have that and it would be game, but we didn't get it. And now we're getting the sack. That is big. They're going to spike the ball. They're going to make it 3rd and 16. And here's the beautiful thing about that. All we have to do is hold them on 3rd and 16, and we're going to get this back with a chance. Assuming they hit this field goal, it's going to be all tied up at 34. It's time for Darren Moody to shine. I have bet on the 5-star freshman quarterback. I burned his red shirt for him to get this opportunity. And now all he has to do is make some reads. Nothing was really there on 1st down. Can't be too upset by that. But we need Tristan Glass to put his hands up. Why didn't he put his hands up? He literally had the inside leverage, and now I have to watch this dude just dance around like he did something there when we had the size. Look at this. He cuts back. He's there. And then he puts up his hands a second late, just giving it to them. This is ridiculous. We're literally just going to have to stop them and not let them be in field goal range. You know what? Let them score a touchdown, or else they're just going to kick a field goal and win it. We had 41 points dropped on our head by Wake Forest. I don't even know what to say, man. I mean, this game's all over. We're just going to try and hit Nick Machado. He literally had a chance at catching that off of the deflection, but he didn't. Now we're going to miss this throw, and that's actually it. We're going to lose to Wake Forest. We don't even get a good pass out. I don't know how we just crumbled there at the end, but we gave up 21 points in the 4th quarter. I still do not believe that that Lester interception should have been an interception. The worst part about all of this is so many players are contingent on our championship contender grade remaining up, and it continues to fall. In fact, it's about to fall even farther because we're about to play Clemson. The more that falls, the more that we lose. After the game against Clemson, we still have to play against Florida State and Miami on the road. I have a feeling that we might not even go 6-6 and make a bowl game. We're also about to just get into recruiting battles with Florida State for this athlete thumper and then this edge, so our defense is not going to get better if we can't sign those guys. And I think I have to just give up on Quincy Dennis. We're wasting points. LSU's the better school. I just don't see how we're about to compete against 6-0 number 2 Clemson, even if we're at home, but we might as well try. I'm going to end the night in these Vice jerseys. For all I know, we pull off some crazy upset. We're back. We're bouncing back throughout the year. And our playoff hopes are somehow alive and well. I don't know. You never know what could come out of this game still. But I have a feeling that the offseason that's coming at the end of the season in this video is going to be tough. If we want to win this game, it seems like we got to wear them down. We already know that. But we literally got into a shootout against Wake Forest, and that's what caused us to not be able to beat them. We just weren't able to run the ball as well as I was hoping that we'd be able to. And let's see what we got on 2nd and 10. Nothing. I'm not feeling great about this. It is already 3rd and long, but I feel like we could fit that into that window. And if you were questioning why I wanted Darren Moody out there instead of Alexander Bean, it's passes like that one right there. Running the football is simply just not working for us, though. I kind of figured that it might go like that, and we are just getting this out. Probably dropped back too far, though. I'm not sure anybody would have gotten open anyway. This kick is going to go straight down the middle. But our stadium pulse isn't exactly going to do that much against Clemson. Oh, I can tell this kid's going to be a pain to stop. He's like a 5'6" white kid that loosely carries the football. It's not going to be a good time. Okay, I made the play there, and he still broke 2 tackles. They have made it so on Heisman, if you are the smaller school, if your team's not as good, you are going to suffer quite a bit. That actually worked out well for us, though. We were able to stop Clemson on their first drive. And I'm not going to give up on the run yet because we can't give up on the run. I mean, that's our offense. Them forcing us to a quick 3 and out, though, doesn't really do too much. We need to be able to convert on this 3rd and 11. And we had him. Even our offensive line is not good enough. I mean, clearly, we didn't have much time there. Thankfully, he fair caught it. But you know what I say about games against schools like this. If we're going to win, we got to play perfect. It does help that this time we're not on the road, that we have been able to convince them to come to our stadium. He cuts back, but Dijon Lee Jr. makes the play. And here we go. It is another 3rd and 7. I figured that they probably wouldn't run the football here. They have tried to beat us deep, though, after I shaded over top. And it doesn't matter. We got like 95 speed on him too, so that just lets me know that that receiver is really fast. And I will not try my man-to-man strategy ever again. At least not against Clemson. It's just not working. Well, 3rd and 8. We'll see if we can get a wide open Nick Machado. Typically, he finds space there. But I just don't know if we're going to be able to stop their senior quarterback. We might have stopped him on the first drive, but he's got better receivers to get the ball to, and he threw a 60-yard dime. I don't think these 3-yard rushing gains are worth it either. Are we going to be able to get open there? That route was awful. I genuinely don't even know what that was. Tristan Glass has so much better route running than that. It's another inaccurate pass. You know what? I might wake up tomorrow and decide that we're going to bench the 5-star and he's going to continue to redshirt. He's only played in a couple of games, so we could still get him to do that. He's just not impressing me that much. But we kind of knew that. We knew that he'd need at least an off season to get his accuracy up to where I'd consider it what I wanted. And how was that not a fumble? I mean, he probably was in a throwing motion. I'm just going to complain at this point to complain. They've not really been able to fake anyone out here besides our zones not doing a thing on the tight end. I've really just felt hopeless on defense the past few weeks. This is something we have specialized in as well throughout this rebuild. I mean, the ACC's just been a different beast for us. What do we do? Absolutely nobody out there on the field for us is capable of even making a tackle. I don't think we can send a blitz either, though it works if they hand the ball off. But we'll see what they go with on third down. It's a halfback screen. They cut to the wrong side, and that's perfect. See, the crazy thing is we're not even out of this game. We're only trailing by 7 points. But when I can't run the football, it just makes me feel like we're never going to score again. That play right there was a little bit of user error, though I thought they were about to pick that. And we'll see how they guard Tristan Glass on this third down. I think we're going to go short, and we can't be saved. Now, I want to keep things realistic, even if I want to go for it here, but I have not run a fake punt play in this dynasty yet. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to snap it. We're not going to get the blocks. We just got ran into there. I guess that's why you don't run fake punt plays. I thought we could easily get a yard. It just felt like we were stuck, though, with it. It didn't feel like we actually had a chance at picking it up. This is actually terrifying. I'm starting to get worried about what I'm ever going to be able to do in this dynasty. Never mind. Never mind. Dakota Fields answers when you need him the most. Dakota streaking down the field. Yes, yes, it's a tie game. Oh my gosh. He has bailed us out so many times this year. And I'm just going to let him work over on his side of the field. I'm going to use our lowest overall player because that's who needs the help the most. I really don't love having Ty Cordova out there. I mean, we saw what happened against Wake Forest. He got mossed by a short white guy. That was my responsibility right there, though. There's still about 50 seconds left in this first half, so we can assume that they're going to go for field goal range, and I can't even blame them. Maybe we'll get another pick, though. I left that so open. You kind of want them to take it. It'll force them to get through their timeouts quicker. I would much rather them only get a field goal out of this and not score a touchdown. But look at that. All of a sudden, it is 3rd and 15, and they can't even get a field goal. If I'm remembering right, this is where we messed up against Ohio State this season. We were getting the ball back with about 30 seconds left, and then I threw an interception. But I promise, this time, I'm going to be more careful. I see something that we could very quickly hit. And if we can exploit that, then we might just find ourselves in field goal range. Now, we're going to have a perfect throw, which we ended up getting. But this is exactly what we wanted. We needed Darren Moody to heat up. And honestly here, we just got to get rid of it. I don't know how I thought that was about to play out, but it didn't. And should we go for a touchdown? I just need this to take less than 4 seconds. You knew I was throwing it. You knew I was throwing it. I don't know why when I predetermine a read, when it's not open, I just can't tell my brain to, like, do not throw it. That was such a bad decision. We didn't have another timeout, so I literally couldn't hand the ball off. I panicked. The play clock was winding down. And if I threw it away, time might have run out. We shouldn't have locked ourselves into an RPO there. We could have actually made a read that led to a touchdown. And now look at what they're doing. I don't care that I'm on the hardest difficulty. I don't care that I tune the sliders a little bit to make it even harder. We're on the hardest difficulty, and we're getting 2 pick sixes with Dakota Fields. Make up for my lack of offensive skill on this game, buddy. You are the greatest gift to FIU football ever. He's scored 14 points. Our offense has scored 3. I'm starting to feel like T-Top. I'm feeling like I can get picks on every drive. Give me more opportunities to work, and we're going to work. That isn't there, but we should be able to get a sack. Come on, guys. We can't let him get out of there. In my mind, Khalil Wilkins has got to be shook right now. He's got to be cold. There's no way he can have any composure after he's thrown 2 picks. And this is exactly where we want them. 3rd and 5. I'm stuck on a defensive tackle, though, and that stinks. I knew where they were going to go. If I don't guard underneath there, the computer will just eat that alive this entire game. Like, see, they did it there, too. But I have to be on this mid-read on 3rd down because the hook curls can kind of guard the slants. I've not really seen the mid-read do that. They had no choice but to hand it off on this play, and he just slips through the tackle. You know what would be super sweet is if they decide they want to have another bubble out there. They did. They did. 3 times. 3 times in a row. Dakota Fields is working Clemson, and he's going to get caught. He's not going to get the pick 6, but he deserved it. This is actually an insane run. We should not be in this football game. And yes, I decided we were going to throw it here because they probably thought we were going to hand it off and get a yard. There is an upset on the horizon. Midway through this game, I think a quarter into this game, I said I was benching the 5-star. But honestly, even if he himself, not me, made that awful read to end the first half, I think he deserves to stay out there. I've just found the spot that I want to lurk on this field. They didn't throw the bubble that time. They're learning. Good job. I just sit here. I hide behind this edge. I wait for them to motion someone over. What do we got? We got some underneath routes. Nothing. On 3rd and 18, though, I do think we need to generate some pressure, which is why we're going to send in a little bit of a blitz. They just had to get it out fast. The real trick I am still worried about, though, is can we close this game out? I know we have a 14-point lead, but I have choked much bigger leads before. We might get a biggest return we've seen. And this is actually a miracle. We actually can do this. If you thought that this season was over, you would have thought wrong. We had to wait a long time to get that one to Nick. And I did not realize he has 152 receiving yards in this game. I mean, he's having himself a day. I've kind of just accepted, though, that a field goal would be really cool here. If we get a touchdown, that's awesome as well, but I wasn't thinking that was coming. This is the duality of college football. 1 week, you can't take down Wake Forest. The next week, you're destroying Clemson. But they're not out of this yet. What did I say about this little kid giving us issues? Isn't that crazy, though? We had problems at home against 1-4 Cal, but here at home against number 2 Clemson, no issue. We go on the road to Wake Forest, a team that's typically not that great at football, and we can't beat them. But Clemson, we have a lead on. Now, we can't get too cocky because even if we're up 31-17 now, they've got it a little bit closer. And it's not like I can just run out the rest of this clock. We're going to have to pick up multiple first downs to come close. This did feel like a great opportunity, though, to bring in Alexander Bean. I'm going to slide the second that we cross the marker, which wasn't the best move. There was a lot of space there for the taking, but it's an adjustment. You've seen how many times we fumbled on that play. On 2nd and 13, I'm expecting Tristan Glass to be wide open here, which he is. So we're going to get out it quick and be at midfield. Now the clock is really starting to become on our side. But this is where we can expect them to start calling some timeouts. And we get it to Devon, who stays in bounds. They got bailed out by an injury timeout, so the clock is not going to stop. But we're still going to keep on completing passes. And at this point in this game, I feel confident. I think we're actually going to hold on against a big team and not blow it. Myself plus EA will do everything to make this as close as possible, but it would be hard to blow this. I've had some bad moments in this series. Guess who is not throwing the ball and who isn't even using RPOs anymore, because I'll make the wrong read. If we can just go up by 3 possessions, I mean, that should do it. I almost just moved that arrow at the last second out of pure nerves and panic. That was crazy. I don't know why I'm sitting here nervous up by 17 points with 1:45 left, but I just feel like I can't have nice things on this file. And, you know, that's why. My user tackling is absolutely horrendous. Can you imagine what this game would be like if we didn't have those 3 interceptions, by the way? I'm not sure it would even be close. I mean, we showed that we could at least compete a little bit, but who would have predicted their quarterback throwing 4 interceptions, 3 of them potentially being pick sixes? We're about to blow out number 2 undefeated Clemson. I cannot believe that this is how this game ended up going. I mean, they're just throwing pick after pick. Are they going to throw number 5 here? No, he's going to catch it. I mean, that kid's got to be like 6'5", because Dijon Lee Jr. is 6'4", and he didn't even look like the bigger man in that little matchup there. Either way, though, it is so over that they didn't even try to have an onside kick. They've just given it back to us. And I know more of our points came from the defensive side than the offensive side, but Darren Moody, the 5-star freshman, deserves this win. It has started to give me hope again for this team as we go out through the rest of this season. I was not expecting the night to end like this. And if you take back me forcing it with a bad play call at the end of the first half, Darren Moody played really well in this game, especially since we literally could not run the football. I really think Dakota Fields could go down as the best defensive player that we've had in this series, though. More impactful than Justin Thomas, which is a crazy thing to say. He had 24.5 sacks, but he's so much more dangerous when he's hot. He gets touchdown after touchdown on the defensive side of the ball. He just set the single season interception record for FIU too. It's why I'm sitting here confused looking at our playing style, wondering why some of these defensive backs want to transfer out. What could they want more of? We're playing so well. We just had a play player get 3 interceptions in a game. And it's a long shot, but we might be able to set the national interception record all time in a season because it's currently at 14. We have 8, so we'd need 7 more with him. Those national records are so hard to set, but if you look at any of these that are listed as Florida International instead of FIU, these are the records that we've been able to set in our time there. And even over the course of the season, we've had years that have made some big impacts, though I think it would be awesome if we broke T.Y. Hilton's receptions record with his son. Considering he only has 13 receptions this year, that's not going to be possible. He just hasn't been used in our RPO game the same way that Tristan Glass has. But I just can't believe he's gotten the ball that little. You're going to see Florida State beat us out for both of these prospects. It all comes back to that loss against Cal. But for some of these newer 4-stars on our board, we're competing with Duke for all 3 of them, and we've taken a bigger lead on Duke for all of them as well. I've also decided to fill out our board with some 3-stars that were already interested in our program, just because I think this would be good for depth. I want to make sure that we still are signing classes of 35 players. Even if we're only set to lose 11 seniors this year, we know that there's a lot of guys that could potentially transfer in the future, which is what worries me the most. We don't want to see that. It would have a major impact on this roster, and I mean, most of these guys are either going to declare for the NFL draft early or they're graduating, so this team's going to look very different next season. Honestly, how we finish out these final 4 weeks is really going to determine that. We have one final home game our senior night, and then after that, we're going on the road for 3 conference games. Every one of those teams is struggling, and we're probably not going to be able to find a way to make it to the ACC championship, but we might be able to finish 9-3 and find our way into the playoffs. That's going to be incredibly hard to achieve, but I'm just setting the standard high for tomorrow, where we get to open up against a much smaller school again. I'm really not looking for much in this game. I would just prefer if Darren Moody didn't have a single interception. But it looks like starting quarterback Tim Kopp has not transferred out to a big school yet. There were moments playing against him last year where he literally felt unstoppable. So that is just important to keep in mind. We almost had a pick 6 that early on in this game as well. That's why I think if there's any spot on the field I want to lurk with a user, it's always going to be in the slot. But they've just gotten a breakaway touchdown run a few plays into the game. I mean, forget their quarterback. This kid's going to be hard to beat. And I just can't believe that we got that unlucky with how this one started. But Eugene Hilton Jr. might be gone to the crib on our first offensive play, as he just had the speed and the blocks from his teammates. It's looking like it's going to be an explosive game from the offenses in this one. Everyone's going to be exploding all over each other. I mean, here's another huge play for you. No one's capable of even making a simple tackle, though we should be able to here. He cannot get back to the line of scrimmage. Deon Bohannon has clearly been eating his Wheaties. I don't know what this kid's on. So far, I have not been enjoying the process of trying to get him off of the field, but we have pass committed. We have set our defense up for 3rd and 10, and I'm ready for that. Oh, you've got to be joking. We knew where the football was going. We literally just didn't get there quick enough. And they will clearly take that bubble every single time if I'm not sitting there covering it. I've left so much open underneath, but he didn't throw it. You know, I actually think it's best if on 3rd down, we just ran man-to-man coverage. I was obviously not sticking on him. I was kind of hoping some other guys in the area would just make the tackle in time, but they're going to be going to the 10. UTEP this season seems much better than the one that we played last year, just based off of what we've seen so far, though I don't think they're going to run it. I think they've got to throw it on 3rd down. And there it is. There's the pressure. The junior, Jaden Woods, gets off of the edge. I'm hoping he doesn't transfer out from FIU. We're set to lose a lot of talent on our defensive line. It'd just be nice to keep him around. Not every offensive drive we have, though, is going to be as easy as our first one. I mean, they're stopping the run. They're coming out without pressing, so I'm not so sure if this is even going to work for us, but I wanted to just see if we could at least get a check down and then take off with Emmett Bickley all the way to midfield. I'm a little surprised to see them out there running man-to-man coverage. They've switched up to zone for this play, but you know that we have some speedsters. I always enjoy playing these smaller schools because I throw the ball so much better against them. And I've seen this play work wonders before, so we're just going to mix it in and hope for the best. We should have completed that pass. That is literally why we have Darren Moody on the field, because he's the more accurate quarterback on our depth chart. Thankfully, he stepped up right there. I was hoping that they would run some man-to-man coverage. We could take a corner route. We'll go for 7. We're close enough to the end zone now where we can pull out the bubble play. And if it's there, we're going to have the easiest touchdown of all time. I don't know what I'm going to do, though, whenever it comes to getting some defensive stops. They're going to break the first tackle every time. And I have switched up our defensive formation a little bit. I'm having to guard basically everybody with Dakota Fields. so unfortunately I couldn't stick with him. But I feel like that's more so on our defensive line for just not getting in pressure quick enough. I think I'm about to just start sending 5 people and hoping for the best. Maybe not though if they're just going to be making hot reads like that. On second down, they have it. Cover 3 is just not working for us. That's why we're going to switch back to cover 2 and we're going to man up the running back. So if they want to try and take a check down, we should have someone on it. Here we go though. On 3rd and 9, I'm stuck on our defensive tackle. Where are you going? Until I pulled up the film, looked at instant replay, I was about to chew him out for not making a play on the ball. But there were other guys getting him out of position, so it ended up being okay. Here we go now. This is the big play. 3rd and 17. We called a timeout so we can get another offensive drive in this half. All we have to do is not give up a touchdown. Those last 3 games of the season are looking pretty scary with the current state of our defense. We are literally just letting teams march down the field versus us. And from the looks of this coverage, they're not going to be sending in much pressure where we should still have Nick Machado. Even better, I love this look coming out. Tristan Glass, are they going to have safety help over top? They're not. All the time in the world. You can't miss this throw, and we don't. We're getting into the end zone. You can take a bow for that one. I'm still upset that our stands are not that full, by the way. I know that we're sitting at 5-3, and we're playing against UTEP, but we've had some solid seasons. We're in the ACC, and we're still going to be bowl eligible. There's only 24,000 seats in the stadium, man. Surely we can find some people to fill it up. Look at what time in the computer's back on, though. Is anybody surprised? They're just shredding us. They're about to end this first half with a touchdown that would tie things up, and they have it. I thought they might go for the 2-point conversion. They're not going to chase points, though. And last year, they would have pressed in this situation. I'm a little surprised they're doing it here. They've never pressed me like this before. But they do have safety help over top. If this works, it's incredible. It's going to be a pick, though. And it was so avoidable. I apologize, Darren Moody. I was just trying to get some more points there. Now he's got another interception on his stat line. But look at this play here. I feel like this could really stretch the field for us. I'm going to force it, though. I got to just escape and throw this football away. We are looking way too far down the field. We're just going to go to running the football, get it a little closer, and we'll see what we have on 3rd and 7. Easy. Quick read. Tristan Glass gets us more too. We really can't afford to have a bad offensive drive at the moment because we have not been getting any defensive stops. I don't know when those are going to come again. And on a 3rd and 4, we do have a quarterback draw set up where we are going to be able to get enough. But everything collapsed really quickly, and this play's called PA Booty Leak. Someone's going to think they're smart in the comments and say, no, it's Boot Y. But I just think it's funny they got that name in there, especially since I've been trying to run this for this whole video, and finally, it gives us a wide open touchdown. Turns out you run the ball a little bit more on that drive, and they bite on the play action. But do you know what would really make the difference at the moment? Getting an interception. I thought we had it. We were a second away from me just glazing myself again for some of these picks. But instead, they keep on going with these halfback screens, and they're no longer working. On 3rd and 8, we have this bunch set that we're going to have to deal with, and I felt like we handled it pretty well. We forced them to throw it straight at us. And now we have it back with an opportunity to really stretch them deep. I was hoping that we could get something to work out there. Now we're just going to send this up and see our size mismatch, hoping for the best. I think I might be going back to my old ways a little bit too prematurely. This game's far from over. We got to return to the RPOs. We got to return to running the football against them. That is what's going to exploit their defense, but nowhere to go. We might have the speed option, assuming I get the pitch out quick enough. This is why I got to stop running it. I was hitting it quick too, but our offensive lineman gets shoved into us. This play's just so busted now. Half of it is bad decision making, but you had a lot more time to pitch that ball on earlier parts of this game. I think it is best for all parties if we just vault that play forever. I keep thinking that maybe this time will be different, and then it never is. Kuba Taylor with the interception. He's just falling backwards straight into it. That was sweet. They are literally giving us 3-man fronts. I am expecting us to run the football well against them. Just no more option pitches or anything. I will find a way to mess those up. We're getting another first down there. The counter almost worked. And on the first play of the 4th quarter, I did drop back to pass it just for one. I just wanted to see what type of look they were giving us. We might have Tristan Glass for a touchdown out of this as well. There's one safety trying to catch him, but he extends it and he's short. That's fine though. We're just going to go with the quarterback sneak, find our way in. And I cannot believe that for a while I was just going to have him go back to riding the pine. With a little less than 6 minutes left, UTEP has a large mountain to climb if they're going to pull off this comeback. We're going for hit sticks. I want Tim Kopp to make some mistakes, but he didn't here. I know Dion Bohannon's probably been targeted like 10 times through the air, but for him to only have 9 carries is just diabolical. I feel like they should have fed him the rock even more I mean, they are passing well, but I am still most terrified of his downhill running. I can always try to send in a little bit of a blitz, but it didn't get home, so they get a touchdown. And we have to maintain this 8-point lead with 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Now, Sterling Joseph, he's going to be the man for this. This is something that he should be able to easily handle. But our offensive line also has to put in the work as well, so he has lanes like this to hit. The Miners have started to burn timeouts. We are 1 first down away from being able to close this one out. But it's going to have to come through the air. On 3rd down, Darren is feeling the pressure. He's escaping it. And can he scramble for this? He's going to get the block, but he's out of bounds. Since the 2-minute warning can still hit, that doesn't necessarily end it. But look at this lineup. I thought that was the freest touchdown of all time. I got greedy. I was going to go for better stats in this game. Now it's going to be 3rd and 20. And I think I can get us into field goal range. So this one is still over, but we need to slide. I can't believe UTEP's even been able to keep it this close throughout the entire matchup. It doesn't matter now, though. Wade Shaw just sealed it, and their final play of the game is going to go for like 20 more. That'll help out their quarterback stats, but we get the most important part, a win. And this puts us at 6 wins on the season, so we are now bowl eligible. I have to say, though, there are a few players I'm still extremely worried about, especially when it comes to playing style. Most of our best defensive guys could transfer. I guess in the past, we haven't been giving up many defensive passing yards per game, but this season, now that we're in the ACC, now that we've been playing a little bit of a tougher schedule, that's what these guys are obviously going to care about, and we can't continue to let this happen. Teams are currently averaging 300 yards per game against us through the air. That is simply just unacceptable, and now we have 3 road games to finish out the season, so we never get to go back to Pitbull Stadium. For the first time in this dynasty, we're taking on Florida State. We've yet to do this, and they have a quarterback that's literally only thrown 3 interceptions all year. Sperry might be just dicing us up throughout this entire game. I accidentally got clicked onto the guy that had the outside leverage. So the Seminoles have already moved the chains once, but we're in that hole and he just jumped straight over us. If I'm going to fly in like that, we should probably be a little bit more controlled than we were right there. But do you see the problem? We're just giving up so many passing yards per game, and I thought we had that. We're not going to be able to recruit off of playing style at the cornerback position anymore. That's for sure. In fact, that could have been really bad right there. They got a little bit of a screen play to the outside. We're prepared. Dakota Fields is not messing around. 3rd and 15. Nothing long. We're there with Robinson. We have already let them march down the field once, but at least they're settling for a field goal, and there's no guarantees this even goes in. I can see a glowing Florida State logo behind the end zone in the tunnel, so that's just a little detail I picked up on during that kick. No return here. But look at this. We got an unstoppable connection between our QB and tight end. The freshmen are going to continue to look to hook up in this game. I don't see him there, though, and they had a spy. I don't even run the ball that much with Darren Moody. Why do we have a quarterback spy on him? We're going to hand this off to Sterling Joseph, make it 3rd and manageable. And just see that we have the numbers over on that side of the field. We need our blocks to hold, which they did for a short period. But we're no longer playing against UTEP. We're back to playing against some harder defenses. To move the ball, we're going to have to come out making the right choices. And I think we all know that that one just wasn't it right there. I've been avoiding taking this halfback angle route on 3rd down, and that's exactly why. I just feel like I'm never going to be able to get enough to get to the marker. But if it's like a 3rd and 7, that would have worked better. Definitely not the best of starts offensively. I thought we had that. But I have to keep reminding myself, this quarterback does not throw very many interceptions, and he went with the other RPO read. Now it's 3rd and 5, and I'm stuck. It doesn't matter. He had to throw it away. That was a solid defensive display there. Maybe we can cut to the outside and get caught. It really has just been a disappointment returning anything with him. They get off the line so quick. For a second there, it looked like we were about to have that whole side open. But I think we're just going to be giving it back to them. On 3rd down, you got it. You got it. I was scanning the wrong part of the field. They just blocked a punt. I have never seen a blocked punt on this game. So they're now getting it at the 30. The computer just does stuff so they can continue to dominate. I think I could literally make a 99 overall team, and with my skill level, we're still not going to have a guaranteed championship. No way. This is good, though. Even on Heisman last year, there were moments where I felt like I could have just won it all by closing my eyes. We're getting another pick 6, by the way. This one's not Dakota Fields. Instead, it's the freshman corner that I've been excited about. The problem, though, is I'm pretty sure he's going to want to transfer. So, Travis, just don't leave us. I don't know if it's funny that we literally can't beat teams unless our defense is also scoring. They've bailed us out of bad offensive play in so many matchups already this season. And that was a good little play call. Now we have to be extremely aggressive. We know that they're probably going to run the ball here. If we just stuff this hole, we could get them off of the field. That was always going to be asking a lot, though. They went with the jet touch pass. Normally, they just hand it off there. I was willing to sell out for the run. And you can't even see he exists because of this bug. It is what it is. They have another first down. This time, it's play action. They didn't even hand it off. And that is perfect. We got him on a 2nd and 16. We tried to fill that hole up, but instead they get a 20-yard gain. Tyrese Muamba has 2 carries on the day. He has 38 yards. They might not run the ball very much, but he is currently averaging 19 yards per carry. And we could have a sack. We still do. That was solid right there on 2nd and 15. I decided we were going to bring in a blitz, and Ty Cordova comes underneath to get the interception. We got another. So much for this kid only having 3 interceptions all year. We've been able to get 2 against him already. And I was sick of sitting back in cover 2 and cover 3. We finally mixed in a blitz. It paid off and worked wonders. We might not have an offense that can move the ball, but we could still close out the end of this first half solidly. It's just going to take a couple more first downs and some solid clock management. I got some bad habits of wanting to just cut it to the outside and trying to go for some big plays. Solid ball placement. I have never been able to throw this route whenever we had Alexander Bean out there, but it worked for a first down. I'm actually feeling pretty good right now. He just glitched on to make that tackle. At least it's what it looks like. I mean, I didn't make a read there. I was just throwing it no matter what. On 2nd down, you know that I'm still sticking with those RPOs on 2nd down. But unfortunately, we just stepped out of bounds, which actually really hurts us. This has to be a hard enough throw, and it was. 93 throw power versus the 87 that we were using is honestly such a game-changing experience. It has been very noticeable, though this was supposed to be a passing play. You know exactly which one too, because I said that I wanted to mix it in. We might even have Nick immediately here. Or we're going to have our running back, and Emmett Bickley goes to the 1. All right, from here we should be able to just take this in. Though we're going to throw it over to Tristan Glass instead. And why are we playing better against Florida State than UTEP? Up until this season in Dynasty and all the stuff that I've done on this game, I have felt like playing the harder schools has always felt way harder. But we have just had such a weird year of results so far. To be fair, this one is far from over. It's 3rd and 12, very early in the second half still. And they had man-to-man on one side, zone on the other, so my read that I was going to take, I didn't even look at. I'm telling you, the computers got it like that on this game. They got guys like rotating before the play, getting me all sorts of confused. That was not the right read in that spot, but I'll take it. 3rd and 14, going to be very hard to convert here. We're looking over the middle, and they don't have it. Solid stuff. We're getting the ball back, and he just didn't pick him up. I'm calling all these guys out. Why don't these players want to be the ones that want to enter the portal so we can start to rebuild that offensive line? Just frustrating sometimes. We're going to have our drag, though. Nick Machado helps us move the chains, keeping the hopes of winning our 7th game of the season alive. Now, I am very curious. Does Justin Devon have what it takes to get us a touchdown here? I think the play action had them biting, and he is actually just gone. He only has like 92 speed. That is such a money play, though. We've now been able to pull that off a few times. They just have to give us a man-to-man coverage look, and they're going to be on a 3rd down. I've been trying real hard to get them off of the field on this drive. We couldn't. But at some point, he is bound to make another mistake, or we could sack him. They get a dump-off pass, and they somehow get a first down out of that. Even if it's marked as a 3rd and inches, I'm just as frustrated. We got a 7v5 here. He kept it. I didn't leave a guy over on that side of the field. That was a really even box, though. I wasn't expecting to be able to stop the run anyway. This spot on the field, though, is where all of our defense matters, where we need to be able to hold them. I love making teams only kick field goals. I can't believe that they almost just had an inaccurate throw to a pick. But here we go. 3rd and 16. They're testing our 6'4" corner, and he almost let it happen. I'm protecting the sticks. I got everybody drop back. They can take that underneath there. See, like, what am I supposed to do? You don't get to flash the lights either. You're currently losing to FIU. I'm a little bit annoyed by that touchdown. We did everything right. And this is where I could see them finding a way back into this game. Darren Moody even got injured there. He's out of the game on this 3rd and 16. But we have a wide open Nick Machado. Alexander Bean making the pass there was not something I could have expected. We're trying to run some time off the clock as well, but it's going to be 3rd down again. And we'll see what they're coming up with defensively. We had enough time to get it out, but he got a hand on it. After being up 21-3, seeing that they're getting it back with about 4 minutes left and that last touchdown grab, I'm officially a little bit worried. The game is never over till that final whistle hits 0. Here's a 15-yard run. That is Tyrese Muamba's third carry of the game. He's at 55 yards. I don't know why that kid's not out there more. They could be getting so much better use out of him. But we're going to try something different on third down. Man-to-man coverage instead of running zone, since we saw what happened the last time we ran zone. This is just embarrassing for Dejon Lee Jr., though. I mean, he is getting mossed back to back. We get the pick, but I just can't believe I've watched our 6'4" corner get mossed this many times. By the way, is that CJ Kuba-Taylor's second interception of the game? We have now been able to force just as many interceptions as FSU's quarterbacks had all season. Darren Moody also can't be beat up too bad because he's back out there on the field. And let's see, are we going to be able to hit this RPO and get anything on this play? Not really. That makes it 3rd and 11. They're using their timeouts pretty wisely right now. But after that last pick, it's still going to be hard for them to overcome this deficit. If we play this smart, we drop our guys back and we don't give up any massive plays immediately, or we just get the lurk with Dakota Fields. Dakota Fields does it again. This kid is unstoppable. I can't believe what I'm witnessing. I was just not expecting his hands to actually make a play on that ball there. Honestly, this offensive performance out of Florida State might scar fans more than the 2-10 season just did. I just cannot believe that they have only thrown 3 picks all year, and then against us, they throw 4. The lights have been too bright for Kevin Sperry, and he did it again. He gave Dakota Fields another interception. He's going to catch him, though. I can't believe how we were just able to pull that off. I've never seen this pop up either. Is this like a record or something? He now has 10 picks on the year. We're still going to try and go for that record. The most in a season ever from a defensive back. I mean, he didn't even win us this game. He just helped us close it out. It is going to help us pick up some commits as well. I mean, they're loving how our defense is playing. 3 linebackers in 1 week. And then for this 4-star receiver, Charles Blade, we're in a tight battle with Duke. When it comes to the 3 stars that we're going after, I thought these guys would be a little bit easier to bring in. But all of a sudden, some other schools, especially ones like Oregon, have just come into the mix to make it more difficult. So I don't know how many of those battles we're going to close out, but there is a very real chance that we grind our way back into the playoffs. As for the conference standings, it looks like the conference championship will still be out of reach. We know that there are certain teams like Clemson we have that tiebreaker over. Time will tell, though. Another team that only has 2 ACC losses is Boston College, so we have to beat them on the road. I wanted to wear the Vice jerseys one more time, so that's what we're going to wear, even if it's not a Vice game. They're coming out of the locker room right now. Just rub it on this Eagles head. Maybe that's like a good luck charm or something. I'm not sure. I'm hoping that they need that in this game, though, because we're going to go for as many interceptions as we can get. It is not our offense that we ever showcase or get excited about. Our defensive players are our best ones. And Darren Moody is starting this game with a little bit of wear and tear damage. I shouldn't have thrown it. He was playing that area, even if he wasn't sticking with him that much. And so it is literally 3rd and 10, just like that. Though we're going to try and fit it into that window, which we can bring in. Don't tell me that I benched Alexander Bean just because I threw a bunch of interceptions with him and it wasn't his fault. Granted, that is part of the reasoning, but I think Darren Moody's been a more accurate quarterback for us. That was a huge run out of Emmett Bickley, and he's going to have a chance to do it again. I don't know where Sterling Joseph is. As far as I'm concerned, he didn't get injured last week, but he is just not out there on 3rd down. We're going to highball another pass. And I swear, highballing is so worth it. It did absolutely nothing there. He was wide open. We should have just taken that in for a touchdown. But I think highballing helps a lot. That was how we completed that first pass on 3rd down. And look at our offense getting off to a solid start in this one. Now we just have to figure out how to hold him. Jamal Heron running downhill might not be fun to stop, but they brought in a 3rd down back for this play. He's just not as worrying to me. A little bit of a stretch, though. And yeah, that could have gotten bad. We know that they're most likely passing the ball here, though. They got their 3rd down back in. It is 3rd and 7. I can't give up this drag underneath. And there we go. We've been able to get a stop as well. Now we're going to look to try and get a decent return. But 93 speed is just not feeling like 93 speed with him. There's Sterling Joseph. And we almost had that. This strong power could be very good. I just cannot outrun my blockers on this play. We're cutting to the outside. We can't outrun him. We waited, and now there's like one guy to make miss. That really just added to the playbook for us. I thought this was going to be a play-action play, but it wasn't. Thankfully, we still complete it. And we can go with a stretch to this side just because we have the numbers, but it's not going to be as broken as the last running play. That pistol formation, though, is the best we've run the ball in a long time. And what a start to this game. We've already taken the entire crowd out of it. There's no stadium pulse because they are literally just playing that poorly. On 3rd and 12, they are going to have someone come over the middle of the field. I just don't think that's good. They have set themselves up to end this first quarter down 14-0, giving us the football back. And can we get a return going here? Come on. Finally, using that 93 speed. but his juke move's not been upgraded yet. At one point, Kun, or however you say his name, should be our starting running back. I did go back to the strong power. It did not work there, though. We're going to be throwing it on second down, and they were sticking on Nick. We just got to have an extra yard here. That's not hard to get. And I feel like we could just come out and throw this rock and probably get a sizable gain. We got a nice little setup there. At some point, they were going to bring a blitz trying to stop our offense. You could kind of see that before the play even started. And if I'm Boston College, I don't know what you do to stop us. We're having one of those days where everything's just going our way. We're reading the defense properly. We're inside the 7. And I would love for this screen play to be open and work here, but it doesn't get us much. I think this could be a really good spot, though, to take advantage of what's on that far side of the field. No one's out there to stop Sterling Joseph. And it is 21-0 already. This is nice, though. It has been a long time since we've had a game get out of hand like this one. We literally just got around 3 offensive linemen. Dakota Fields making an incredible play there, and they just keep on going back with these screen plays, but they slowed themselves down. Here on 3rd and 6, I'm watching underneath, and they throw it to us. I think he got hit before he got that football out, but we have it back again. Kuba Taylor has now gotten 4 interceptions this season. He's been making some plays, but that's just another senior that's going to be gone next year that I think we are going to greatly miss. On second down, I'm just going to wait. We're going to hit underneath to Hilton, setting up a 3rd down where they're sending a blitz, but we still get it out in time, and Nick Machado runs far down. It would have been sweet to see him take that one into the crib himself, but it shouldn't be hard for us to finish this off. And Boston College is taking timeouts. I guess they're realizing it's about to be 28-0, and they're going to need all the time in the world to come back. But what's most likely going to happen is they're just going to throw an interception to Dakota Fields. How has he been able to do this so many times? This is insane. I have never been beaten a team this bad, even when we were in Conference USA. It's taken me 13 minutes of in real life time to get it to this point. And typically one of these games comes out to be about 40 minutes each. So this one's over in 1/3 of the time that it normally takes. Now I would like to see if we can do anything else, get some more interceptions, maybe some more stops, but if they're about to score, get on the board, I don't care. I was willing to see if we could win like 70-0, but that's not going to happen. They're going to start the 3rd quarter on fire too, scoring another touchdown. And they've gotten it back within 21 points. To be honest, that all happened pretty quick, but they have left Nick Machado wide open. So we're going for a touchdown on our next drive, but he fumbled. He fumbled and scooped it up himself. We all know what that is, though. That's just Heisman difficulty being Heisman difficulty, seeing if they can keep it tight. And I think they're about to hold us to just a field goal, though after rolling out, I should have thrown it sooner. It's all good. I still feel like we're in a spot where they're not going to come back, but it would definitely be helpful if we could get them off of the field on 3rd and 10, and they just had another huge play against us. I don't understand how we came out so hot, and then they've been able to respond like this. We literally almost had them again. I am literally T-top in this video, but this running back might just be prime Reggie Bush, might be prime Adrian Peterson. He's just going crazy. What are we doing with some of these tackle attempts? It's just disappointing. At least we were able to get a stop on the 2-point conversion, and we're also getting a huge run here. For only having 89 speed, Sterling Joseph was looking explosive there, but I see the coverage I like, and we're going to see, do we have the speed deep? Maybe not. This is a hard throw to make, but Darren almost put it there. I like whenever we have a quarterback that can place the ball deep. That ball was thrown behind our tight end, but the potential is there. He just has 68 deep throw accuracy at the moment. In fact, it could be far worse than it has been. He hits the seam to Justin Devon, though, and there's another touchdown. It is actually unreal, though, how our defense is just folded after that original first half performance. They scored within like 6-7 plays. It really helps that we played so well offensively, because if not, we might not win. I think we're prepared to take on Miami, though. We have never beaten the Hurricanes, but we're playing our best football. This just feels like the year where it's going to happen. We're trying to get a passing touchdown. It's going to be 3rd and goal. But then I discovered this play, and you know what? We have to try it. It's going to be a reverse that you hand off, and Justin Devon reaches across. He's doing snowflakes in the end zone. I wish there was snow on the field. That's going to be fun to try. I will 100% be pulling that out versus Miami next week. And we'd end up closing this out without letting them score again. But I know you all see how Jamal Heron was just breaking tackles there. It was crazy. I guess the more we win, the more of these battles that we also get to win, because Charles Blade, the 4-star receiver, has chosen us, which will honestly just add to our roster over time. Like somebody like Paul Cahill. We recruited the 4-star last year. He's a 75 overall, but he's just being redshirted because we know in the future that we're going to be able to make him extremely talented. We didn't need need him this season. I was really trying to do the exact same thing with Darren Moody, but what happened was he's played well. We've been on a winning streak ever since he stepped onto the field, besides I think one game, so he's going to stay out there. What I'm really hoping for is Alexander Bean's playing time deal breaker doesn't drop below a B grade and he doesn't transfer out, because if he transfers out, he's probably going to end up at FAU. Then he might beat us. That's just something I've been tracking, and if we do happen to beat Miami for the first time in this series, I still don't think we're going to get into the ACC championship. It is also looking less and less likely we make the playoffs. Going into this, we're ranked 22nd in the country, but I don't care. My main goal right now is simply just beat the Hurricanes, because we haven't been able to do it. It's nice that we're at the point in the dynasty where we don't just get a million different rain games. We've had a lot of days that are sunny, and I think Sterling Joseph is our answer to success here. The senior has been a part of about every single team that has lost to the Hurricanes so far, and so I want to get him started early with my new favorite running play that we found last week against Boston College. He cuts to the outside, and we're going to make that guy hesitate. Now we got to get around this kid, but he catches us. Funny enough, that was actually Emmett Bickley as well, and he didn't have as much luck there getting off a big run, though if we're patient enough, we would have had Eugene. I ran too far backwards in the pocket. I didn't trust my offensive line, and on third down, we need more time. We can still get a field goal out of this drive. Our freshman kicker is going to have to lock in for this, though. And that seems like it's going to go exactly how we wanted. By the time that Wade Shaw is a junior or senior, he should be drilling from 60. I don't know how we didn't get that ball, though. Look at how close we just came with Dakota Fields to getting another pick six. I really think that it's normally in our best interest to be lurking those RPOs. A lot of teams are using them quite often, but I also tend to give stuff up whenever they don't. I will say, though, if we could even force like one interception a game off of it, that's enough for it to be worth it. Without my user in the run game, though, you never know how we're going to do whenever it comes to stopping the run. We're down here with Dakota Fields. It's going to be 3rd and 11, and they are not going to have a quick out route. They still decide to throw it, though. And why did he just fall on the ground? We just gave them more of a chance than they should have ever had. We should be able to get in pressure here. Instead, they complete the pass and go for a touchdown. This is just exactly how it always goes. Whenever we play the big schools, they pull off plays like this. You have to play so well if you're going to take them down, and we can't even cut up. They got a very aggressive front here. I'm going to see if a halfback dive can help us, but I'm not even seeing a hole to hit. It is 3rd and 9, and if we get out this quick drag, we're going to have to go to the marker, but we can't. There it is. There's the 3 and out the Hurricanes were probably hoping for. It's still early in this game, though. We're going to dive to that. And my plan for this drive is hopefully force an interception. I don't mind playing this aggressive against them. They've now run back-to-back screenplays, which I probably should have been lurking. They handed off on 3rd and 12, though. That's not going to work. Interesting play calling, to say the least there. I feel like read options just haven't become as useful for us. Understandably, we stopped using them with Darren Moody out there on the field. Maybe one day we'll get his quickness stat up, but at the moment, it's just not worth it for us. We're highballing that, too. I don't want to see any Superman dives for an interception, giving the ball back to the Hurricanes. And although I will say there have been some frustrating moments in this game, I don't think it's been that bad. I still feel like we had a pretty solid first quarter there. We're going to have to get this one out, which they almost got to. And let's see, are we going to get a chance to hit a corner route here? We're going to have the inside leverage so we can catch it. I cannot remember the last time we were able to actually catch an aggressive jump ball like that, but we got one. And we're going to need them to not stick with our tight end here. We've lobbed it up, and he runs under it to be in the end zone. The arc on that pass was a little bit crazy, I will say. But we have ourselves a lead against 6 and 5 Miami, who can't be that hard to beat. Every year we have a close game versus them, and then like every year I feel like something happens, whether it's my fault for a turnover or it's just bad play, and then we end up losing. So this year I want a huge lead as we go into the 4th quarter, but it might not happen. Isaac Henley's putting together some runs for them. Honestly, doing more on the ground than their running back, Austin Jennings, though they're not catching that either. That's actually perfect. It's 3rd and 8. They go with the read option, and we're getting out there with our defensive tackle. What an effort from him there. They're going to try and tie things up, and it seems like they have the leg strength to do it. But at some point, I'm going to hit them with the play action and see if we can break off a huge play. Here we go. PA booty leak. We're going. We're going to get them underneath, and they have stuck with Nick Machado pretty well here. I thought he was still going to catch it. We might just be best off highballing this one up the seam to him. If not, I dropped way too far back. And you know what? We should have never taken the risk there. It just didn't work out for us. That was a great play call, too. I saw like 3 of their 4 routes get open versus some of our zone coverage. I can't bait both of those hitch routes, but at least I covered one of them. The computer probably would have left both of them open. They're starting to chew some clock, though, because they want this to be the final drive of the first half. and we're in there to just not make the tackle. Come on. I went for the hit stick and everything. But maybe a conservative tackle works there? I'm not entirely sure. We did block the extra point, so that was the one positive of that drive. But they have already gotten us into a 3rd and 7 situation. Come on. Some of these tackles are just not blocking well against the Hurricanes at the moment. They can't get out to that. That bounce will at least set them back a little bit farther. And as long as they don't get a big run here, they should end up just running out clock. They're not going to, though, because we ended up knocking them out of bounds. And I'll be open. I just called a timeout. I think we can get them off of the field on 3rd and 12, where they go to their check down, and then he jukes, spins, but it's not enough. If we're going to beat Miami, I have to figure out how to pass. I have to start having some reads that I can get out in literally like 0.2 seconds. And that might be one of the most beautiful things I have seen while playing this game so far. We're going for our underneath pass to Sterling Joseph. It didn't really do us any good because he was just being kept up with there. And now we're hoping that our crosser can get open. But I'm going to have to just take the sack. I really don't know what I was thinking there. I should have been throwing that ball away. I guess I'm used to having a little bit faster of a quarterback than that. I got to go back to playing in the slot. I'm afraid that they're literally just going to run all over us, though. There might not be any winning for us. They go for the flat because I didn't guard it. And if this is a bubble screen, we have a pick six. Give me a bubble screen. I know you want to give us a bubble screen. Instead, they just go straight back to 26. The crazy thing, too, is Austin Jennings could be a player that we tried to recruit at one point. And then the Hurricanes stole him away now that we're farther into this dynasty. And he's doing this to us. All it takes is one pick six, though. That's all that we need. They got a guy motioning out. And he really threw it, but we can't get a catch. I'm going to be honest. That was it right there. We should have been able to force a turnover. Instead, now on 3rd and 10, we're going to have to get them off of the field. And we got him. If we don't get that pressure, I'm not sure my user makes the play. It's really just not been a great offensive game from us, though. Finally, we get a good play. Once I see that, I like to stay in hurry-up mode, but because we're on the road, we couldn't get our other play call off. It is really hard to run a hurry-up offense here. Oh, no. I was trying to throw the outside hitch route, but it was a little bit too late. Nick Machado, open, on target. Thank you. We are literally just surviving against the Hurricanes at the moment. They send in a blitz, but that's not going to be quick enough. All right, this time I'm going to run bubble Y pop a lot better. Thankfully, no flags. And we just continue our drive down the field where I'll take another 5. We've already run this play once in this position, so I kind of figured it might not work again. But if they're going to give us a 3-man front, I have a feeling they're sending a blitz, which might be a problem. I actually think I need to change up this play call. I was originally going to run a quarterback draw. Instead, we're going to look for our best receiver, and the throw is on the money. The senior, Eugene Hilton Jr., snags himself another touchdown. And the Hurricanes are coming out in 5 wide, so I can pretty much expect that they're not going to have any sort of RPO. I guess their quarterback turned that play into one, though, because he turned it into a running play. And here we go. 3rd and 4, underneath shading, pass commit. We have to guard the drag with our life, and we're knocking it loose. We aren't going to have a lead going into the 4th quarter, which is what I really wanted against the Hurricanes, but at least we're still going to be in this one. And it is straight back to the RPOs that got us down the field on the last drive. If anyone seems to be running the hardest at the moment, it is Emmett Bickley. But he did just let us down right there. It's now 3rd down where we're going to come close to the marker. I'm reaching. All right, they have the numbers over on that side, but we're sending the blockers. But Miami read us like a book, so we got absolutely nothing there. I'm pretty certain that we're just going to force it on 3rd and 14. We have to make sure that we at least get a read out, which we do, and that's enough. I can't believe that they left my first read open that wide. At this point, you have to know Darren Moody is staring down Nick Machado. Will we be able to get a 1st down off of the draw, though? I think that's close enough. This little bubble can help us finish it off. And I am still working on this clock because even if they're going to have a chance to respond, the less time that they have, the better. Though I don't love Jalen Rainbolt's the running back in for this play. We will see what we can do on 3rd and 9. I'm going for the 50-50 ball. We got it. That is our crutch right there. We can't get through the hole. But Miami is starting to call timeouts. We're hoping that he can just truck through one guy. And here is the biggest problem. If we don't pick up this 3rd and goal, what do? I think we have to just kick our field goal. We're going to go for another pass over to Nick Machado, though, and he hangs on to the football. For as good of a receiving core as we have, it's basically just been force-fed to our tight ends throughout most of my time at FIU. And let's see if we can get a hit stick going as well. Force a fumble. With 70 seconds left in this game, we have a chance to beat Miami for the very first time. And Dakota Fields is looking to get another pick 6 or something out of this. Kevin Otis with the pressure makes it 3rd and 18. And they can't get this pass out either. So we might actually do it. I always choke against the Hurricanes, but it would be very hard to give up a 4th and 18. Come on, give us that. We're grabbing the interception. They're not getting any crazy aggressive catch against us. It's over. Dijon Lee Jr. makes the play, and he's been here for the losses, so he's finally going to get a win. I'm actually very impressed with our freshman quarterback to go into Hard Rock Stadium and pull off this type of win. Darren Moody had a pretty flawless performance. I know a lot of these completions were off of RPOs, but the incompletions were when he didn't have enough time. He didn't even have an interception, and we weren't running the football well. Just from the look of it, though, we're only moving up to number 18 in the country. I feel like if Florida State and Miami were ranked higher, we would have definitely gotten a much higher ranking than what we're currently sitting at, but there's also a lot of 2-loss teams that would have been above us no matter what. We just weren't meant to make the playoffs this year. We're not going to be in the conference championship. Clemson is, though, who we ended up annihilating, so that says a lot about this team. As for the award watch list, we can sit here and scroll through some of the offensive ones, but we know those are most likely not going to go to us. Dakota Fields might make a clean sweep on the defensive awards, though. And I am a little bit confused between the Nagurski and then the Chuck Bednarik, because both of these are presented to the best defensive player or the defensive player of the year. Like, that's the same thing. We even have senior Charlie Collins in the running for the Lombardi, but he's not going to win this one. We just didn't get that many sacks. But there is a tight end named Nick Machado as a freshman that should take home the John Mackey Award. This lets me know that it's not just by overall this year, because he had 1,000 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, and the next guy beneath him had about the same amount of yards, but only 5 touchdowns. As some of these award winners pop up, like the Heisman Trophy winner, I don't think any of what we just saw should change off of the projections. Dakota Fields is going to have such a clean sweep with some of these defensive awards, and he deserved it. 11 interceptions this season. Then there's the John Mackey going over to Nick Machado. And we have taken home the Jim Thorpe Award for the second time in FIU school history. As for our bowl game, we've gotten Oklahoma in the Birmingham Bowl. I can't say I'm thrilled about it, but I haven't really explored this trophy room too much throughout this series, and now I feel like there is a long list of stuff that we can actually look through. In 2027, Dakota Fields took home the Jim Thorpe Award. In 2028, he took home that same award, so he's a 2-time winner. Then we have our Conference USA Championship over UTEP. We have our Conference USA Championship over Middle Tennessee. We actually had a Bednarik winner, a Nagurski, and a Lombardi, that clean sweep from Jordan Thomas when he had 24.5 sacks whenever I think he was a junior. And that was the same year that we beat FAU for the very first time in overtime. That, alongside looking through the coach contract, is always a nice refresher of what we've achieved so far. This could actually be tied for our worst season ever if we don't beat Oklahoma, which is pretty crazy. I've been able to go 40-13 in my career at FIU, and if you compare that to some of the other top coaches in the country, that puts us down here at like number 13. I don't know why Dabo Swinney always ends up at Alabama, but for all these other big schools, it seems like their head coach has not changed yet. And Hawaii was able to get into the playoffs this year. So was my favorite team, Kentucky. We actually took down the Wildcats last year. I don't know how they were able to make it. In the history of this dynasty file, though, the championship game has always been between 2 SEC teams. The only way that's possible this year is if Kentucky makes it there. So I think that streak's about to be broken. It's National Signing Day, which means we can check out some of these player dev traits. Florida took a lead on Greg Trapp, and then we actually lost a couple of these 3-stars to North Carolina and Oregon. As for the guys that we've brought in, all of them have been normal or impact until we got to Rashard Minter. He's an 83 speed linebacker. I want to see at least one elite dev kid, which is what we got in running back Eric Peters, who's also a contact seeker. And then we got star dev on George Azugawu. I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce his name at some point because he's 6'4" with 93 speed, but for now I can butcher it. And let's just go back to Eric Peters for a second. We have elite development on somebody that is a contact seeker, so I think we're going to get some of the most OP abilities on a running back. You know how I know that? Because Jamal Heron, the Boston College running back, as an 88 overall that was giving us so many problems, he has that same archetype, and it's this downhill ability that is really OP. We could also get battering ram, which I've seen Ultimate Team people complain about it being broken. I'm not sure if it's like that way for single player, but we'll explore that whenever the time comes. For now, though, let's face off against the Sooners. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have dreamed of winning the Birmingham Bowl. It doesn't get me that excited, but being able to beat a team like Oklahoma would be pretty cool, and then after that, we have the entire offseason to get through, which is where we really have to take this team from where it's at and make it better. It might actually be the first time while using FIU where we end up regressing year over year, just because I know that we're about to lose a ton of pieces. First play of the game, they're starting out with the bubble screen. I wasn't clicked on, and then he breaks the tackle, so they're getting like 30 yards out of this. Somehow they knew I was drinking some water and I wouldn't be able to make a play with Dakota Fields early on. From this point forward, though, we're locked. It's also going to be very important that we don't give up very many passing yards in this game. Remember, that playing style deal breaker, that's something that's going to cause players to transfer at the end of this season. With how many screen passes Oklahoma's utilizing, though, I think we're going to be able to get some interceptions. And if we are about to set any records with Dakota Fields, what we're going to have to somehow do is get 4 with him. I would really love if he had the most interceptions ever in a season. But getting to 15 does seem like a pretty lofty goal, and they have a touchdown. They've started off this game pretty hot, so they're playing well. But are they prepared defensively for the run that Emmett Bickley could pull off? That run play worked so well like 4 times, and then ever since then, it just hasn't panned out the same way. We're going to need to highball this one, but there's a flag. Of course, we get a holding call. I think it's our first holding call of the season, and it comes on a 3rd down like that. Now I'm just going to throw this ball up to Tristan Glass because we can. We have the size mismatch here, by the way, but it just went through his hands. That doesn't really bug me. I see that as an arm punt. We were going to probably kick it shorter than that anyway. But goodness, if this is what a 6-6 team looks like in the SEC, that could be a whole other animal. The ACC is the 3rd best conference, even if it's ranked a little bit higher inside Dynasty. So it's not like we joined the best one in the country with FIU. With this handoff, we're blowing it up. Solid stuff there. I feel like we should be able to get a lurk here too, but he's not going to throw it if I have a user just staring at him. No matter what, Oklahoma's going to be up 10-0 at the minimum. Can we get them off of the field on 3rd down? We can. It's really our offense that didn't have that bad of a start to the game. It's been 1 drive, but it definitely took a hit to morale to get stopped the way that we did that early on. I'm trying to take the top off of the defense here. It just did not work the way that I was hoping it would. And that one's on me. Poor Darren Moody. I'm just starting to rack up the interceptions on his stat line. That should have never been thrown. We have just opened up this game in the absolute worst way possible. But this isn't the first time this has happened in a bowl game. I remember against Coastal Carolina, we went down like 24-3. And then guess who ended up winning that game in the end? We persevered and won. Maybe the same thing can happen here. They throw the bubble screen again against us. I don't even know what to say. Jacob Jordan has 5 catches for almost 100 yards already, and this is where I was really hoping that they tried to go back to it. Just feels like a prime opportunity to let me try and get a user lurk. On 3rd down, though, we are going to switch over to this zone just because I felt like we could make that play. And it's about to be 13-0. I know you all have seen it though, for how much they've dominated against us, moving the ball especially. We are very fortunate that it's only 13-0, and that's a solid run. What we can't do is go away from it just because they blew up a couple of them. But strong power is not working against the Sooners. Are we going to have Tristan Glass deep? We're going to have to make that throw with 2 dudes in our face, and he still catches it. That was not good right there. I wasn't sure how that was going to pan out for us, but through the air, we've now gotten a lot of yards. It's been much better for us in this game than running the football, so we're going to continue to do it. Now, I'm not completely going away from the run. If we were to do that, then it would be way too easy for them to stop us. And I am very curious how they end up guarding this RPO. Not well. You take away those 2 really embarrassing interceptions, and this one is a contest for sure. We can 100% compete with Oklahoma, and it's about to be 3rd and long. They're going to have us pretty spread out whenever they have 4 guys over on that side of the field, which really stinks. I probably should have been usering over there, but I didn't trust it. I thought I'd be better off covering a part of the field that they might not hit. And what is something I've barely done? The correct answer is blitzing, so that's what we did. I actually think it could have worked out really well for us there. On 3rd down, we're going to get the interception. CJ Kuba Taylor snags himself another. And I am going to miss the senior so much. He has come in and been a beast. Now, he was just in the right place at the right time there. It's not like he made most of that play happen. I hate this read. It was never there, but I forced it anyway. On 3rd down, we're going to roll out. We're going to make this throw well behind Eugene. 3 straight incompletions on that drive mean we don't have a chance to capitalize. But Oklahoma shouldn't either. They're going to run the ball 1 time and burn out the clock. At least that's what the computer typically does. I guess they decided they still feel like they should be able to get into field goal range. And we seriously just lucked out there. Decent run on 3rd down, but there's only 15 seconds left in this half. Unless we gave up like a huge play over the middle, they're not getting a field goal. In fact, they might just get the interception total in this game up to 4, which is fine. That right there takes us to the end of the first half. I'm not very happy about this offensive or defensive performance, but we have been able to regroup over the course of the end of that quarter, and now we can come out strong. I have selected a play that I said was going to be banned forever, but I'm going to literally pitch it from right here, and I guess if you do it that quick, then it can still work. I've just made so many mistakes with it. It's not even worth me risking. We're going for a deep pass here. If it's not there, you know the simple method, go underneath. And confidence is rising. I can't wait till we can see the upgrades we can get on Darren Moody. I'm literally expecting like 50 skill points to spend at the end of this offseason. We're going to be able to find Justin Devon for another like 20. And we have stayed out there in trips tight end. It's done us wonders, but nobody decided they were going to block there, and we still almost got in. Tristan Glass is another player I really don't want to transfer out. I can't remember what his deal breaker is, but I know he's threatened to do it before. And we've kind of been money with the QB sneaks. With this extra point, we're taking a 1-point lead against the Sooners too. We'll see what they end up going with offensively as a response. Maybe some runs. My hope is more than anything, just read pass options. We force the fumble too, and we pick it up. I don't know who gets credit for that hit stick. It was kind of hard to tell who popped that ball loose. But it looks like Jackson Small was actually the kid that forced the fumble, which is crazy. It was his first stat recorded of the game. That right there is how you earn yourself some more playing time, though. We're starting to feel confident. And we'll see what we have on this next play. Once again, it's just going underneath. We really don't complicate stuff that much with our offense. We got a wide receiver screen to Tristan Glass for 5. We have a potential bubble on this play, but we could also go short to him again, and he breaks the tackle. I don't know if they're going to give up another RPO to Tristan Glass 3 times in a row. That would be kind of crazy. But I'll tell you this, we're not getting off the field on 4th down. We're going to block our running back. We're going to look for Hilton. He gets a little bit of separation, but Tristan Glass is the kid that gets the touchdown. I just did not trust how Eugene Hilton's route broke in like that. Am I washed? I used to be so good at getting picks off of those plays. We're just not lurking it as well. Recently, that ball was out of reach. And that just lets me know that those ones we got this season were well-deserved. I've been trying to recreate them, recreate that feeling, and it's been difficult. But maybe to start this 4th quarter, Oklahoma will decide to mix one in. I've not been able to stop that play. These wide bunch formations are actually giving us so many issues. And Dakota Fields should have had an interception right there, but it's going to be 3rd and 12. Cover 2 hasn't really been working out in these spots, so we decided to go with cover 3. Seriously? I mean, we're staring straight at the ball, putting our hands up like this. We don't catch it. I feel like his catching stats got to be decently high too. Oh well though, not going to catch everything. We are going to be able to have a pretty big passing play to open up this drive. Nick Machado just getting naked. And Darren Moody's going to want him to get naked like that more often. We're going for another big pass, and we can't hang on. I don't love a quarterback draw in this situation, but assuming that our blocks hold, it always had big play potential. And it's a numbers game over on that right side of the field, which we have the numbers on. We can't make that defender miss, but we are still handling things pretty well offensively. On 3rd and 1, this all comes down to what Emmett Bickley can do. No one picked that kid up, but I've already been aggressive once. I am willing to be aggressive again, trusting Tristan Glass. That was not an easy catch to make, but he still did. We find our way through the hole, and we're in the end zone. Jalen Rainbolt gets what I think is his first touchdown. And I can't believe we're in this position versus Oklahoma just because we started this game so slow. I'm not sure how many defensive starters we're going to lose going into next season yet. We'll have to figure that out during the offseason, but we just got ourselves our 3rd pick of the game, and we could have fumbled that. If Travis Shembo transfers, it's going to be really sad because he's got a bright future. And we'll see if we can get them with this RPO. Blocks didn't hold for that long there, but they don't need to. It did enough. All we needed was the 1st down, and that's going to be fine. Oklahoma has no choice but to start burning timeouts. I might pull out a fun play as well just to see if we can do anything with it. If we're going to kick a field goal here, I did want to stay in the center of the field, and that could have been picked. We had a touchdown too. That throw just came nowhere near Tristan Glass. But it is all good. On 4th down, game on the line, they're just going to throw this ball up. I accidentally ran into them. Dakota Fields gets one of the rare PI penalties they'll call. But he ended up getting a pick at the very end of the game anyway. We close it out 31-16. And that is our 3rd straight 10-win season. But more importantly, Dakota Fields has now set the FIU career interceptions record. We have really just dominated the record books. We've been able to pick up bowl wins. And I have to say, if we compare Darren Moody to Alexander Bean, they had about the same amount of passes completed, about the same amount of yards, about the same amount of touchdowns, but one threw half the amount of interceptions. I think we found the better quarterback. Sterling Joseph didn't exactly have the most exciting senior year. If we look back on his career stats, he rushed for the most yards as a sophomore, and then he was in a 4-way tie with our 2 QBs and then Emmett Bickley for rushing touchdowns. Odd season there, but Nick Machado, as our tight end being our only receiver over 1,000 yards, our leading receiver with the most receptions, It's unfortunate. Eugene Hilton Jr. is just not going to go in the FIU Hall of Fame like his dad. But guess who has one more season with us? Tristan Glass. I think his brand exposure grade is just high enough to where he's not going to transfer out, which is absolutely massive for us. He has always been getting over 800 receiving yards, about the same amount of catches and touchdowns. And I know we have to look at the defensive stats. I didn't realize Myron Robinson racked up 106 tackles. Pretty good year from him. This is actually the least amount of sacks I think we have had as a team. But interceptions-wise, it was crazy. Statistically, if you look at how many points our defense gave up, we are inside the top 5, which is very impressive for just joining the ACC. We didn't have the most sacks in the country, but I feel like if we were to sort by interceptions, we should have had the most in the country. And I think we just did at 27. You know who won the national championship, by the way? The first team that's not an SEC school to win it all? Clemson, the team that we beat. I have a feeling that when we go on the road to Death Valley next year, it is not going to go like that. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, but we ended the season on a 5-game winning streak. No, a 6-game one. The only game Darren Moody lost as a starter was against Wake Forest, where they dropped 41 on our head. That was a rough patch in the year, and I should point out that Dan Lanning, after I said coaches weren't really moving around, he just went to Oklahoma. I guess losing a bowl game to FIU was enough to get their head coach fired. We did that, which is pretty funny, but now we have players at risk of transferring. As far as I'm concerned, there are 12 of them that I'm currently counting. A lot of these guys just want playing time, but not all 12 of those are actually going to enter their name in the portal. It looks like only 8 of them did, and then we have guys like Micah Strickland who want to declare for the NFL draft, but it's guaranteed he's going to come back. Come play your senior year for FIU. We have enough persuasions to convince all these players if we wanted. I don't think Kevin Wynn was ever going to return. Travis Shembo, though, no. This is the kid I really wanted to stick around. He's an 84 overall freshman cornerback with star dev. He has so much potential to just keep on getting better. But he cares about playing style. It's extremely low that he's going to come back, and he's now gone. We got Raphael Booth realizing as a quarterback he's probably never going to start, so he's now gone. He had potential. And we did actually end up convincing Deshaun Creed that he should stay here as a quarterback because of playing time. I didn't think that was originally his deal breaker. It must have just switched over, so eventually he will transfer. But he was just a 3-star we picked up, and I saw he had uncapped accuracy, so I was like, we got to keep this kid around. Anyway, he's the only guy that decided to stick around that threatened to leave. Guys like Kasim Khan, who I thought was going to be really good for us with his 93 speed star dev, we can't develop him now. Terrell Doucette, he's entered the portal. We lost 3 cornerbacks to the portal. So then these hits to graduation could be costly. Sean Burke, we didn't use him that much. Sterling Joseph, that is a big one for us. Myron Robinson, projected going to 7th round. I love to see that out of a linebacker. CJ Kuba Taylor will probably not get drafted. And then Dakota Fields, I hate that he is a senior. For guys like Eugene Hilton Jr., Charlie Collins, and Jaden Ball, I knew this was our last season with them, but it just hit me we're losing Dakota. He will go down as probably the greatest defensive back that we have throughout this entire series. His zone stats, 95 zone coverage, it was just out of this world. He wasn't even fast. He just ended up having so many defensive touchdowns for us. 7 this year, 2 the year before. He forced a lot of interceptions as well. And then, of course, we know that he brought in those awards and a lot of National Defensive Player of the Weeks. I think he's going to go down as the most decorated player that we've had at FIU so far, which is why I'm thrilled to say that he did end up getting picked up in the 7th round. But now we have to figure out which of these 3 stars and 4 stars we want to still put ours into, like Greg Trapp, and then which of the players that we're going to actually pick up in the transfer portal are worth it. You know that we're going to have some options. Guys like Austin Jennings, who I was just talking about playing for Miami, he would consider transferring here, but we're going to have to beat out schools like Clemson, Pitt, and Auburn. If you look at his season stats, he averaged over 1,000 rushing yards. He's the 2nd highest rated player in the portal. And then we're first for transfer receiver Jordan Yaboa. I would love to get this kid. I just cannot wait to see how many of these guys we actually land. What I've decided I'm going to do is we're going to go heavy after these 2 4-star sophomore transfer running backs. I think we're going to get one of them. Clemson will probably get the other. And then if you just look through our board, a lot of these guys that we're putting 50 hours into, they're young transfers. The guys that are older transfers that are already going to be juniors, seniors, we're just going to offer a scholarship. After advancing a week, we'll see what changes with that. We actually signed Greg Trapp, the 4-star receiver. We beat out Florida for him. We also just won on a cornerback. And apparently, whatever we just did was enough to unlock Master Motivator. Now, we were going to start exploring the Tactician tab, but I have to also look inside this. It looks like wear and tear damage can recover faster inside, which is pretty cool. Running backs are less likely to transfer. That could actually be super OP. Then there's Tier 3, Everybody Eats. It increases all XP gains for that position, so maybe we do save up and go down this pathway. I didn't realize how good that could be. Look at Austin Jennings, by the way. It seems seems like nobody else wants him. Unfortunately, though, that did not last forever, and then our other running back option, we've kind of just fallen behind on going into week 3, so we're going to have to hard sell correctly. We've already used a visit week on Austin Jennings. A lot of these battles are going to be pretty tight, and we're going to have to guess the hard sell information correctly off of very limited information. It's going to be hard to do, but we'll probably get lucky on a couple players. For example, Ricky Dorsey, I got so lucky. We sent him on a visit, and I guessed this hard sell with like no knowledge, and it shot us up over everybody. What I ended up realizing, though, was I don't even know if I need a class of 30 players, let alone 35, so we're not maxing out our board this year. We're still going to try and get a lot of prospects. We just happen to have a pretty full roster right now. We had 85 guys on it last year, and we only lost about 20, so we are going to have to cut another 10, even with the current signings we're going to get. Realistically, we can lose some of these battles, and it's not going to be the end of the world, though there are some commits I want to see pop up, and it's not that 3-star center. With 1 week left in recruiting, I think we've been able to lock up Austin Jennings. We're not going to be able to come back on Jalen Shakir, but that's okay. Outside of Adrian Hawley, we have found a lot of other 4-star transfers that we can take leads on. We've actually jumped up to first place for these 3 guys, which I wasn't expecting. And the fact that we locked down Austin Jennings to be our starting running back next year is a massive deal. Before we get to training results and position changes, there's only 6 players that are going to want to instantly transfer next year. And I was expecting Adrian Hawley to choose UCLA, and we also lost another battle to Auburn on Braden Herron. They came out of nowhere, but we have some solid defensive tackles we covered at the end of episode 3. We also are going to find Star Dev on Greg Trapp, one of the 4-star receivers that we ended up signing. We're going to have elite development on Austin Jennings, so that makes sense. He was the number 2 player in the portal. I expected it. Back-to-back elite development on these outside edges as well. Ricky Dorsey and John Shakir are about to become a great duo for the next couple of seasons because they're both transfer sophomores. And where was our class ranked inside the top 25? It's going to be at number 17. I figured this had to be better than last year because we signed 16 4-stars. If you look at us in the ACC, we're the 3rd best class. Austin Jennings is a 92 overall as well. He only has 86 speed, but that's going to be our main focal point with then Eric Peters behind him. He cares about proximity to home, so that's not bad. But Jalen Rainbow and Emmett Bickley are probably going to transfer out because they care about playing time. We'll see how everybody develops. Then at receiver, I didn't realize how good Jordan Yaboa was. He is 6'5", 89 speed with 50-50 as an ability, press pro. I mean, I just got the best jump ball merchant in the world. The future is definitely looking bright. We're going to move Micah Strickland over to strong safety just because we don't have a better option at that position at the moment. I'm hoping it doesn't add skill caps. That's something that's in this game, especially for offline files at the moment. I'm still waiting on that patch, so position changes is pretty useless, but we have gotten a dev trade upgrade to elite development on Nick Machado. That guy's going to be insane. We're also going to see another dev trade upgrade, this one going over to Pounds. I'm going to guess this kid's like an offensive lineman, but he is actually a free safety that never saw the field for us once, and someone needs to take this crop jersey off of him immediately. I'm going to be honest, boys, if this kid's not going to pull his pants up, if he's going to leave them that low, I might just have to encourage him to transfer, even if he's got a bright future for us at safety. As for Austin Jennings, I don't think we're going to upgrade his power or elusiveness. I think we have to focus on quickness just because if we don't get that quickness up, it'd be hard to use him. From here, I've thought about maybe we get elusiveness a little higher as well, but we're going to spend the next 15 skill points also in quickness. We have 3 left over that can't go to much. On the quarterback side of things, I upgraded Darren Moody's speed once. It only went up by 1, so I think what we should really hone in on is just getting this accuracy to where it's actually usable. That deep throw accuracy, not jumping up as much as I would like, but everything else took a huge leap forward. We can't really do too much about his abilities at the moment either. We need that deep accuracy to be 85 to even get dot. I would love to get extender if his break sack got higher, but it's only at 66. That takes it to 67. And honestly, the fact that he's now an 89 overall, if we don't keep championship contender high enough, he's just going to leave us. We also got Alexander Bean to 94 speed. He's just going to be in for running packages, but I do have a really big issue with the route runner archetypes at receiver receiver at the moment. You have no way of upgrading their spectacular catch or the other type of catching as well. What this means is for a guy like Jordan Yeboah, we can't improve spec catch, and then we can't get the 50-50 ability to go any higher. It's the same for catch in traffic. If I were to spend 5 skill points, it only upgrades catching specifically. I don't know why they have it set up that way. Now, don't get me wrong. He is still going to be a monster for us with these stats. His speed was capped out at 89, but I just wish we could have gotten some of these abilities higher. What's going to be really challenging for us is after next season, whether it's Jordan Yeboah entering the NFL draft or Justin Devon and Tristan Glass graduating, our best 3 receivers are all going to leave us, so we've really got to start developing some of these younger guys. I think if anyone, it's actually Paul Bush that is showing the most potential. He's up to 94 speed. His hands can become as good as possible. Route running, pretty solid too. And then over on the tight end side of things, you're going to see that Stephen Clinton, the transfer, is 10 overalls higher than Nick Machado, but he's still going to be our backup tight end because he is slower. Then as I was upgrading defensive players, Dijon Lee Jr. is actually the first guy I think we've run into where all of his skill caps are full, and we can't purchase any abilities with him either anymore, so we have 13 skill points left over for the senior. He's actually going to get passed up by senior transfer Terrence Hayer, so we have 2 lockdown cornerbacks on this defense before I even upgrade some of these other guys. We also have a 94 overall edge in John Shakir. I know you all remember me bringing him in. He's going to leave to the NFL after this season, but he is about to be a monster, even with not the best power moves in the world. Our right edge position is just insane. I haven't been moving these guys around because I know it adds on skill caps, but our left edge is not as good. Even at the defensive tackle spot, though, we have Frank Gee, who we've mentioned. We have Kevin Otis, who I've mentioned. And I'd honestly say that on our defense, the linebackers are the weakest. We're starting to get some better ones out of these younger guys with a little bit more speed, but they still have a long way to go before they're going to be really good. There always seems to be more players on defense to get excited about than offense, and Micah Strickland actually lost one of his quickness skill caps. I don't know where it went, but he's been able to be upgraded to 97 speed. So I might just have to put him in the slot and make him my user next year. He's going to be a 93 overall strong safety, and I'm excited for this team. See, a lot of these guys are only going to be around for a season, then they're going to declare early for the NFL draft, or they're just going to graduate. That's what a lot of this roster's looking like. But especially after cutting down our roster size, encouraging some guys to transfer, now that I can see we're going to be an 89 overall team with only the risk of 3 players transferring out, the rest of those guys being gone no matter what, I am extremely excited for this year. I can't believe we've been able to put together this good of a roster in Season 5. I am a little worried that we upgraded Darren Moody's accuracy too much too fast though, because if we kept this lower and we just focused on speed, we could have kept his overall a lot lower. But only time will tell there. I have to look at our team prestige, which is now 3 stars, and point out program tradition. It's slowly rising. All these other grades have really shot up, but we just have invested nothing in athletic facilities, and our stadium atmosphere is impossible to raise. I feel like that's got to be a bug. If you all have also run into that, let me know in the comments. I think in Season 5, we're going to be a playoff contender again. It's all going to come down to how we play on the field, but let me know what you think our record's going to be in the comments.